Yo, what's up, everyone? As Jasper says to his job interviews, what's up? How's it going,
No,
guys?
just one. Just one.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning in to Fun Speculation. This is Xbox Ultimate Podcast, episode number 133 today. Lots to talk about, as usual. Lots of Sony panicking going on right now. The walls are closing in on them, and their legs are kicking. They're screaming. They're getting desperate, and that's going to be interesting. Also, we got some pretty sad news in the Xbox world today. If you're an Xbox fan, a Halo fan, especially as well. But we'll talk a little bit about that and some more. We have not really a guest, part of the Fun Speculation family, and just call it a spade a spade. It is what it is. This man belongs with us. It's Game Pass Dad, aka Pickle Papa, joining us. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you look like a pickle today.
Yeah, it's an April thing, apparently.
It's April thing. So that started last year at April Fool's, right? And it carried.
I decided to stream every single day in April last year as a pickle, and it got out of hand.
It did go out of hand. It did wonders for your Twitch channel, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a meme. So I've decided now, like every April, I'm just going to do it for every single stream, but not every day.
Yeah.
But anytime I'm on other people's stuff, I'm still Pickle Papa.
Are those dill pickles or those aren't
Gherkins or
I think they're dill. We might have
kosher?
some gherkins like somewhere around. It's a very diverse pickle family here.
Yeah. They better not be those sweet ass pickles. I hate those things. When you think
I got
you're
a sweet ass pickle for you.
when you think you're
Bread and
grabbing a
butter?
dill pickle and you eat it and it's like sweet,
Whoa.
you know. I don't know. What? I didn't say anything wrong.
Why are you grabbing his dill pickle?
I would prefer if no
why are
one
you
put their
eating
hands on my
his dill
pickles. That'd
pickle?
be
Jesus Christ.
being
That's
good.
A bigger question. It's one thing to grab; it's another thing to eat.
I like.
it's still cannibalism. I am a person here. That's just.
I
No,
like
you're a pickle.
pickles, guys.
Well, I am a pickle person. I will have you know. Okay.
it's 2023. You can be whatever you want.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
If you want to identify as a pickle, you be a pickle, brother.
For April, I'm a pickle.
Yeah. It's a pickle in April only. Wow. Jasper, how are you doing, man?
Doing all right. I've been playing some Destiny. Went back to Doom 3 today. I don't know, just something to play, I guess. Was waiting for new stuff to come out. That's what I've been up to.
Yeah, man.
I guess.
Been playing a lot of
Alright.
Destiny the last few nights, late nights, a little close party there, playing some Destiny.
Yeah, I've been playing Destiny with Phasma and someone from a big studio. I'll just say that. I don't know if he wants to be out there, so just put that out there.
A secret individual.
Yeah, secret
What is that,
individual.
3-bit? Really?
No.
Come on.
3-bit's got to still be in Florida right now.
I liked his April Fool's joke. And he said he was quitting.
Yeah, 3-bit's getting pretty famous though. I saw he was verified on Twitter. So
I too have $8, Elon Musk.
shout out to Psycho. How's it going, Psychonauts? What's up, man?
I am doing fantastic. I've been playing Rift Breaker since that's leaving Game Pass,
Nice.
and I've been having a lot of fun with that. And after I figure out how to really play this game, it's like really addicting now. I've been playing it fucking pretty much most of the day. So yeah. If you guys like kind of like an RTS style game and kind of not really harvesting stuff, but you got to go find certain elements and whatnot, and it's
You're
really
harvesting stuff.
Yeah.
It is harvesting. You're right,
Yeah.
Psycho. It is.
good. It is.
Don't
But
say it's not really harvesting because you have to harvest in that game for sure. So
yeah.
yeah.
But
It's a
it's-
tower.
it's-
It's a tower defense / base building /
Yeah, he got 3 houses built today, and then
Yeah.
No, dude, my base is massive. I've grown. It's so huge now. I found some geothermal spots, and yeah, so now I have like this really wicked fucking defense on this, and I just go wherever they pretty much
You launched a rocket yet?
the rocket.
Yeah. You
No.
gotta build a rocket and launch it.
No, not yet.
No?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay,
I've been
okay.
doing everything else.
Oh, okay.
Having everything else, I got 80 points in economy, 80 points in army. I got 5,000 in walls.
Resources.
In walls.
I
I got a lot
do.
of walls.
I have walls and turrets and a lot
Caitlin's
of
not letting it go. You said germal when you were trying to say geothermal.
Germal.
no, whatever.
That's just the Theo.
Whatever, Kate.
The Theo Germal. Hey, Pong Soul, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Doing great. It's Friday. I'm here with some of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Doesn't get much better than that. Like I was telling you guys behind the scenes, I was actually really into Loop Hero. I'm on one hell of a run right now. Kind of figured it out, what I'm doing. So the more I figure it out, the more addicting that game gets. And so, yeah, I lost track of time. I like popped in here like 5 after because I was like, oh, okay. It's after 9 now. But yeah, no, great to be here. Lots of news. Again, the Halo related stuff that dropped about an hour ago, or a little bit more than an hour ago, is kind of surprising, but it is a Friday bad news dump. So that's what happens. So we did get some bad news, but we got a lot to talk about, man. We had a great show last night on PM to PM. Talked a lot of stuff, and we got more to talk about tonight. So let's go. Let's go.
Right on, man. Yeah, we went long last night. We had like 3.5 hours or so, but there was a lot to discuss. We got even more. Like I said, like Sony's in panic mode regarding the CMA, and for me, it's looking more and more interesting. This next week, I think is going to be even more interesting. But we're going to get into some of that.
I actually went into the dark alleys and listened to some of the other sides.
Really?
Yeah, big names over there to hear what they were saying, and boy, oh boy, reality's setting in, folks. At least for some of them.
Is it
obviously
the acceptance phase now?
Yeah. But it's interesting how they're coming around to stuff that we've been talking about for like 2 years now. Like all of a sudden it's hitting home with a couple of them. Some are still moving the goalposts and whatever. But some of them are really realizing what kind of shape. Well, number one, like we talked about last night, we'll talk about it, but either you accept that Jim Ryan is flat out lying through this whole entire process and it's all BS, or if you think that he is actually telling the truth, what does that say about their business model and what the hell they've been doing over there after, dominating a generation? What kind of position did they put themselves in? It's kind of crazy to listen to some people's different voices. So
I saw what's this guy's name? I see this guy shared sometimes for really bad takes. Is it there's a couple, it starts with an M.
MBG.
Okay. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, normally is that what it stands for?
Yeah, that's what it stands for.
Oh shit.
That came out like a couple of weeks ago, and everybody was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me."
Okay,
yeah, that's legit what it is.
Yeah. So I usually I see like clips shared when he's like ranting against Xbox or whatever. But like I saw this time somebody shared a clip where he was actually like, man, this is dumb. Jim's looking stupid and all this kind of stuff. So
he can have some relatively good takes. He's another guy who used to be Xbox and then flipped completely from back in the day and went hardcore PlayStation. He can have some relatively decent takes when he isn't ranting against Xbox. And his whole show, because he did like a 3-hour show because he does a show by himself. I listened to most of it, and he was one of the ones that was coming to reality about what this meant.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely for sure. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, man, I like a lot of times maybe we just bite the bullet and get the bad news first out of the way. Well, I mean, it's gonna be interesting because like I know that we're gonna be very negative towards Sony. But
what?
I know where this is gonna go because you know what I mean. What's going on right there? It's just be real. There's a lot of negative stuff. They're doing well, but still the look that they have right now isn't very good. But besides that, this is some very significant Xbox news that just happened. And I don't want to turn this into like, Xbox is like, what's going on there? And all that kind of stuff like that. It's nothing like this. But, one of the best creative influences they have within the whole Microsoft gaming division, Joseph Staten, one of the godfathers of Halo, started off with Bungie making amazing games. One of the writers, the head creative, one of the head creatives of the Halo universe. After Bungie got acquired, or split off from Microsoft, he had ended up joining Microsoft sometime later as a creative over franchises, basically. And then when Halo Infinite hit shit the bed a little bit, and they had trouble there, they brought him in to kind of take over Halo Infinite to be something shippable and try and get the game out, right? And Joseph Staten is who I'm talking about, and he's one of, I don't know, if you're an Xbox fan, if you've been a Halo fan, you know his name because it's a very important person in gaming history, I believe, as well. But he has decided to step away from Xbox and move on. He's going to be doing something else. He hasn't announced that yet. I'm sure it would be in bad taste just to say immediately today kind of what that is. So we'll see what it is. There's people think maybe what if he went back to Bungie or something like that, which would be pretty crazy. But we'll see what he has in store for us in the future. But as of right now, he has confirmed on Twitter that he is leaving. And the days of Joseph Staten as part of Xbox's and Microsoft's family is over. So I would like to pay this man some respect that he deserves and wish him well. And what does this mean for Xbox
good news.
franchises? You think, Jasper?
I think it's good news because I think you want someone like this who has that kind of creative vision for games to go do their own thing and not be locked down by Microsoft. You want him to be able to be as creative and as free as possible, whereas like Microsoft, he's kind of locked down a little bit on some stuff that he could do. So I think it could be good news.
Do you think Xbox kind of wasted his talent a little bit?
Yeah.
Maybe he would have been better off instead of the role they put him in, and maybe that's what he wanted to do, right? But what if they had just gave him his own studio and say, "They make whatever the fuck you want, man." You know what I mean? It's not really what happened. I think the majority of his time spent here was in some of the worst times in Xbox's history, right? So, but besides that, you got to pay respect to what this guy's done with gaming and creating one of the best franchises that we as Xbox gamers have loved. But yeah, true creatives leaving is never a positive thing, but it's still, I mean, with that being said, what's really going to change? Right. Now, Game Pass Dad, you're still obsessed with Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I put it down for a little bit. I almost finished the Battle Pass, but I've been really enjoying the current iteration of it. But I feel like it's hard to tell what Joseph Staten might be doing next. Like he's 51 years old. Like it's kind of a place where maybe I would think that might be a little bit late to start a whole new venture, but like probably looking towards something winding down towards retirement or maybe something more creative that he can do on his own. But certainly like being pigeonholed into Halo for like 20 years definitely must have felt like time to move on is what I feel like. So it's hard to say exactly where he might go. Cause I mean, he could probably do whatever he wants at this point, but like what that is, I think we're yet to see, but I think it would make sense maybe going back to Bungie or taking on a new project, but I don't know about taking on creating a whole new IP or anything when he's probably only got about 10 years left in his career. Like if I was 50 years old and I was well off, I'd probably be starting to look at retiring or doing something that doesn't take all my time personally, right. But who knows?
Do you feel like maybe some of his time was wasted at Microsoft? Like I remember when I found out he was joining Microsoft and leaving Bungie back then. I was like, whoa, that's cool. I mean, what is he going to make? Or is he going to take charge of Halo? And they kept him in this separate role, right? With kind of like as a creative lead over franchises for Xbox.
Like publishing.
Yeah, but then we didn't really get it. Like he was like the head writer or whatever for the
when was it that he came over to Xbox though? Like, but it was in the Xbox One era, right?
8 years.
One of the like Was it? I think it was Recore was like one of the only games that like he got out when he was over at Microsoft in that position. So like he didn't. I don't think he got out really too much like creative wise.
Yeah, I'm gonna read his tweet here. It said, "Hey folks, I am indeed leaving Microsoft. I'll have more info to share soon. But for now, I'd like to thank all my Xbox colleagues for all their understanding and support as I embark on a new adventure." So for those thinking he might be retiring, that doesn't sound like retirement at all.
Right. Yeah.
It sounds like he's moving into something else. And you know, he hasn't been working on Halo for a little while because after Halo Infinite launched and he stayed there for a while, and then I think it was a couple months back they announced that he was leaving 343
When they had
moving
that
back.
big layoff, yeah.
Yeah, he was moving back to his old role within Microsoft, and now he's leaving Microsoft altogether. Is this a big loss for Microsoft, Pong?
Yeah. Talent wise, you never want to see. I mean, if everything's utopia, you never want to see any of your big talent leave. It doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter what role he's got. Obviously, the guy was a huge contributor to one of the biggest franchises in gaming history, and you never want to see somebody like that, a figurehead, a name, walk away from your company, especially a company now as big as Microsoft. We've talked about this, people that want to move around because you want to go try something different. Now with Microsoft and Xbox having as many studios as they have, there's a lot of opportunity to move within the company. So, you'd love to be able to, give somebody like that the chance, and I'm sure they did. Again, we'll never know. Who knows? Maybe he's got some other big plans that he's been working on for a while now, and he's finally executing them. But you'd love to know that there was a chance for him to move somewhere else within the company and stay underneath the umbrella. Because again, talent is what this industry is all about at the end of the day, and it's hard to come by these days. And experienced talent, even more so. So I would love to see him stick it out and stick around and find a new role, and maybe give him some freedom to go do something he wanted to do. But whatever the deal is, obviously he said he's got a new adventure, so he's got a new adventure. There's been a lot of new studios opening up with veteran talent everywhere. A lot of veteran talent has left a lot of big places to go do their own thing. Maybe, again, it's a big industry, but when it comes to devs and it comes to the older devs, that's a small, tight-knit group that everybody knows everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe he got an invite to go do something where he is going to have that creative freedom that he had when he was with Bungie and they first started working on Halo. Some people miss that, and maybe that's the deal.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just one of those situations. But props out to him. Props out to him. Nothing but respect. Yeah. Even though I'm not the biggest Halo fan, I mean, he had a huge hand in ODST and getting that out the door, which is my favorite Halo of all time. And so I got nothing but respect for the guy. The guy did it the right way. He's never heard boo about anybody saying anything bad about him. In fact, everybody is already out there saying one of the nicest dudes in the industry.
Yeah.
So that's what you want. Leaving your legacy behind somewhere with that kind of reputation intact. And whether he goes back to Bungie, whether he goes to a new studio, whether he starts his own thing, I wish him nothing but all the best of luck.
Gonna make NFT
success.
Games.
Yeah, make NFT games. Maybe he's going to Square Enix, help them out.
Oh, man.
I know
Make some NFT shooters.
I know he always
Yeah.
talked about like flying planes. So like when Microsoft Flight Sim came out, he was like praising the shit out of that because he's like always flying planes on the weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he's going to become a pilot. Age 51. Why not? Go do it. Yeah, no, but nothing but respect, and I hope the guy finds a way. But no, as far as just pure talent, no, you don't want to see somebody like this walk away. I get Jasper's point. If he goes and opens his own studio, joins another one of these upstart studios with some other veterans, sure, at the end of the day, we might get a freaking fantastic game led by Joseph Staten, right? Which would be awesome.
Yeah.
But from Microsoft and Xbox point of view, hell no. You don't want somebody like this walking out your door.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Any pure creatives, guys that have this much experience and know what
And leadership ability.
Yeah.
The guy's proven that he's got leadership ability,
Mhm.
which again, that's twofold. That's not everybody doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So
And
hard to replace.
for those that think like, well, maybe you stick a Halo, right? Because I see that in the chat too. Like, he wasn't working on Halo majority of the time. Work at Microsoft. Only from like 2020 when Chris Lee was fired, or when he moved on, resigned, or whatever, and he took over as creative there. only from 2020 to 2022. Now I'm sure he had some input with the story and all that kind of stuff beforehand as well, but he had more of an overarching role over the franchises. And he still maybe did some writing and worked on books and stuff like that as well. I'm not 100% sure everything he's done, but I wish that, you know, they announced originally that he was coming on, my mind is going to, hey, you know, put him in charge of a game. Let's see what he can make and all this kind of stuff. And we never really got that, but maybe we're going to get that now, you know? So, and who knows, maybe that's not what he wanted to do, right? Maybe that's not what he wanted to do. Maybe this last 2 years of trying to fix Halo Infinite kind of like was like, hey, I'm done. I'm done with that kind of stuff, you know? Psycho, Joe Staten, will he be missed at Microsoft?
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, he definitely would be missed within Microsoft and even Halo fans, because he was brought on to help get Halo to a working, a better state than where it was. Because, you know, we at the beginning we saw the E3 trailer, the 2020 trailer, E3, and Halo just didn't look polished. And that beta, or not the beta, but the early release that we played, the technical desk, man, that felt like the best Halo we've had in a very, very long time. And Halo Infinite, he was able to get it to where it was shown at E3 and a year later graphically, and was able to get textures and get the game looking good and running pretty solid. Now, missing content, that's a whole different story. I think that was kind of out of his hand with how everything was going and the leadership there, where Bonnie Ross kind of had things going at that moment. He was just trying to steer the ship as best as he could, and he did a damn good job. He's definitely going to be missed there. I'd be interested where he goes next, if he's not going to retire, because that is the interesting where he goes next.
Activision Blizzard. Let's go.
I was thinking, I was like, dude, how
CEO.
If he goes into Activision and they start up a new studio or something.
Technically, he would still be leaving Microsoft currently if he was joining Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe it wouldn't make a lot of sense for him to do this, to be honest, because they could just move him over after. But, wishful thinking right now, right? Wishful thinking, ABK, maybe put him in a head writing role over at Blizzard.
I mean, he could be joining a smaller studio, then Microsoft comes in 2 years and buys that up.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Ybarra thought he was getting away from Microsoft. Look how that turned out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing, right?
Thinking.
So wherever,
Rod
maybe
Ferguson
this is
too.
Maybe Staten is the next plant, right? Because that was the rumor that Microsoft plants these guys to see internally what's going on and then makes a buy.
Joe Staten going to Japan. He's going to be in charge of Sega.
No, if he becomes something within, like, let's just say Square Enix, because this is people out. That would be hilarious, and that would be very, very interesting.
Joe Staten, the creative lead of Final Fantasy 17.
All eyes would be on Square and Microsoft at that point.
Oh yeah, wherever he ends up, unless it's Bungie. Wherever he ends up, unless it's Bungie. But I mean, the kind of trend lately, guys, has been these guys
what do you
leaving.
Mean?
And
Sony's gonna have to sell off everything. Didn't you hear Jim? So it's over with.
Yeah, they're
so Bungie's gonna be up for sale.
Yeah.
It's a sinking ship over there, bro.
Yeah, but regardless of leaving, respect everything you've done for Xbox, everything you've done for Halo, everything you've done for us as gamers. Joe Staten, cheers to you. This is my last sip of sweet tea here, just for you, man.
You'll be missed, Joe.
You will. And
cheers.
Can't wait to see what you do next, because I'm sure whatever it is will be awesome. Unless you go make NFT games, don't go do that.
He's gonna go work on Dr. Disrespect's new game.
Oh my god. Dr. Disrespect. I'd like to introduce the man.
Yeah.
He's gonna help me make
Yeah,
this
yeah,
game.
yeah.
Everybody, Dr. Disrespect introducing Joe Staten. Let's go. Yeah, no, I would be like, fuck.
The 6-time Halo developer.
Hey,
He could join Marty O'Donnell's studio, maybe.
Marty
Get the
O'Donnell's?
band back together.
That would be a creative force.
Yeah,
Would be.
what, so they could sue Microsoft for, hey, they use Halo music.
It was Marty O'Donnell sues everybody though.
Yeah.
It's like I would never want to go into business with Marty O'Donnell. Now, there's just much respect to everything he's done, but I feel like he's sued Bungie. He's probably sued Microsoft. Probably, I know he has actually sued Microsoft for Halo stuff. He sued Bungie, I believe, back in the day. Maybe he's even sued Activision. I don't know. This guy just like is a walking lawsuit. Much respect to him though, because his music is awesome. And maybe he did get this shit into the stick a lot, but he's very
get paid
outspoken.
for that sweet music.
Yeah. We'll see. That would be amazing though. Let's say that happened though, like Marty O'Donnell and Joseph.
Yeah,
Staten
they got a game coming out. It was supposed to be like a couple years ago, but kept getting delayed. 6 days in Fallujah. So
yeah, we'll see what is that still happening?
it's still on. It's still being worked on. I think the last update was like
Yeah.
a couple months ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's still being worked on. I've been following that game for a while.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about that game because I don't know anything about it, but it seems different for a Marty O'Donnell game. That's for sure.
It's pretty much true events with the Marines that were in Fallujah.
Yeah, it originally got canceled back in like 2009 or whatever because it was too real. Like, and then Marty like got the IP and started reworking it, and now like it's supposed to be like a thing where every time you go into Fallujah, like the map changes, so every building is going to be different every time you go in, and it's like a tactical clear the room shooter.
I love tactical shooters. Maybe it's spaced out enough time now where they can release it.
Like, did they really have to buy the IP though if it got canceled before?
Shout out to Victor Alstein with a $2 super chat. Says this is good. He's been in the shadows for too long. So yeah, like Jasper said, maybe it's good news. What if he ends up at Bungie?
I'm so okay with that. Too.
I personally am as well. Maybe Destiny will, or whatever they create next, will have a really good story. Right?
Anybody who's been in this industry for this long should have the choice, right? I mean, somebody who's earned the respect and done what he's done. Go where you want to go, man. I'm not going to have any negative feelings towards you wherever you wind up. It doesn't matter. If that's where you wanted to be, go do it. You only got so many years left. So make it happen, man. So if he goes back to Bungie, it'd be freaking fantastic. It'd be fantastic for Sony, who needs a shooter. So maybe they're starting to work on a shooter. Who knows?
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, he's already proven that he's brought us so many amazing experiences. And like, honestly, back in the day though, that was the reason why he like left Bungie, was over the whole debacle, like with the with Destiny's release and like rewriting the whole story. Like, I honestly wish maybe he'll be able to bring, if he does go to Bungie, like it'd be interesting to see like if he has any hand in like trying to reinvigorate the next story of Bungie or create a new experience with them. Like, as long as he keeps making games, I think we'll all be happy, right?
Yeah, that's what I hope. Regardless, wherever the games end up, I'm sure they'll be great. But yeah, you kind of alluded a little bit to Sony's antics lately, Psycho, and it's very interesting what's going on right now because even more news today. It looks like maybe the CMA will have a provisional decision next week. More of these information is coming out about proposed remedies from Microsoft, and it sounds like they're in the kind of final negotiation type phases. Again, I don't think anybody expects them to like submit things to them at this point that they know is going to get blocked, right? So I saw some tweets earlier where they, people are pretty much saying that Sony's in panic mode. The responses to the CMA's reversal came out earlier this week. And Sony looked desperate. They looked very, very squirmy. Jim was crying, it seemed like, and in calling the CMA irrational, reversing their decision.
Unprecedented, surprising, and irrational.
And yeah, using it's saying also something that I actually believe is irrational, that if Microsoft puts Call of Duty on PlayStation and it's slightly inferior, and Digital Foundry points it out to the world, that is so catastrophic to Sony.
Don't forget the Giant Bomb forums.
And the Giant Bomb forums. That is
from
so
10 years ago.
The 10-year-old fucking. Oh my god.
That is so catastrophic to PlayStation that they will never recover. They will.
Droves.
Digital
People will be leaving
Foundry.
in droves.
The fate of Sony's future is in Digital Foundry's hands. That was
not a good place.
That was one of the most asinine things I've ever seen come from this. So they're in desperation mode. I think we can all predict that this looks like it's going to close within the CMA and the EC, right? So hey, let's go to Game Pass stat here, right? Like, what does Sony do next after this closes? Do they go and make their own big, huge acquisition like many are proposing?
I mean, I don't. I feel like it's kind of just counterproductive though if they're actually going to make an acquisition, or if they're looking to be like, Sony's the company that they care about their people and they build their studios from the ground up. They don't just go out and acquire anyone until they see Bungie up for sale, and then they go buy Bungie. But rumor on the street is that Sony is looking to acquire. And basically, if they do so, like they aren't flush with cash like Microsoft, to where Microsoft was able to cover a lot of these with like buying out stock, or who knows what Microsoft did in the back end to actually leverage these deals. But when it comes down to Sony trying to make a purchase, like they're not in a position like Microsoft where they can do it as easily, and they'd have to leverage it and make deals to actually make it happen. Because like if you look at it, like, I don't know, Take-Two is one of the main ones that people on the street, I don't know, I was trying to find the list that some crazy person made.
There was a crazy list out there. There was
an insane list. But I mean, so before I made this analogy, I didn't really the last time I remember looking at figures like really in depth was like back when the market was a lot higher. But like if you look at it now, like, I mean, when you're in times of recession, everything's on sale. And like Take-Two is only like a $20 billion company. Sony is like a $120 billion company, but they only have like $5 to $10 billion of free assets to outright buy it. So if they do, they're going to have to heavily leverage this particular purchase. And I don't know, like, I know that PlayStation makes up a significant amount of Sony's revenue.
Yeah, they're the biggest profit.
Right. But at what point, like, how are they going to try to like make this make sense to the company overall, you know? Because if you take a look at it, like, let's say this is Take-Two, okay? And this is Sony's free capital. Okay.
Is that a condom?
Yes, this is a condom. It's a prophylactic. This is much like
what is going on?
I didn't plan this bit as much as I thought. Well, okay, so I'll admit that when I first came up with this, I thought that the value of Sony versus Take-Two was a lot like I thought it was a lot more disproportional, but still, like over half the value of Take-Two would have to be completely leveraged. Okay, and the thing is, as you can see, the size of Sony, like, it's not a Magnum, it's just a really regular size. Sony's got to be careful in this situation. Okay,
are you going to try to put that on that pickle?
I'm going to try. This is much like Sony attempting to buy Take-Two Interactive.
Is the pickle Take-Two and Sony?
Yeah, the pickle is Take-Two.
It's not fitting.
It's not fitting. I mean, it's just, if you try to make sense of something like this, like, I mean, like the crazy list that we saw, it's a lot safer for like Sony to maybe acquire like a smaller company like a Capcom, or like just something that's only.
Please leave your pants on and don't.
My pants are staying on.
Okay,
but much like much like PlayStation games, once you're done with it, there's not much more you can do with it. But
I think it's already busted.
It's already busted. Okay. Didn't work.
They just
But-
got it pregnant now.
All right, but yeah, exactly. It's unsafe. The difference is Microsoft is a Magnum in this case, and it's a little safer. This bit failed.
No,
It almost worked.
it's well, if it was bigger, it would have worked.
It would have worked.
Or if the pickle was,
Or if the company that they're trying to buy is smaller. Like I don't really see them. I don't really see them trying to take on Take-Two. But I mean, it is possible. Because I mean, companies sometimes even buy companies that are larger than they are. But it's just I feel like it's harder to make it make sense. Unless like just the conditions are perfect, and I just don't feel like Sony's in that position. Like they're acting like in my opinion, they're acting like they are the market leader, and I'm actually trying to work on making an argument about how the market leaders in the gaming industry, especially for as long as I've been really following it from like the original Xbox to now, like we've seen it shift over time. Like Xbox started out as an underdog. In the Xbox PlayStation 3 era, it was literally only separated by like 3 to 5 million units in total sales. And then Microsoft went because Sony got too cocky with the PS3, and Microsoft gained so much ground. And then Xbox, feeling cocky, completely whiffed with Don Matrix saying you might as well buy an Xbox One or an Xbox 360 if you can't be always online. And PlayStation took it to the house for the last 8 years. And now we're coming back. And I just feel like the CMA and just this whole argument from Sony and Jim Ryan, I really feel like is one of those moments where if they botch this, like they're going to probably lose a lot of ground. And Microsoft is making it easier they're making it easier every day to make that switch.
Yeah. Well, I think the rule should be, as Kate said in the chat, practice safe acquisitions.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some practice.
I mean, yeah, I think some of the talk that's been out there is pretty crazy with what people think they're capable of, right? And sometimes you can only do what fits, and that reminds me, everybody, this podcast is sponsored by Manscaped. So shout out to our sponsor, Manscaped. Manscaped is here with a deal you can't pass over this Easter season. They've got the tools to give you the beautifully decorated eggs of your dreams. Just because it's Easter doesn't mean it's okay to hide those bad boys behind all that tall grass. So make sure your downstairs lawn is mowed. Get yourself feeling as sweet as candy by going to manscaped.com and getting 20% off plus free shipping with code FUNSPECULATION. Again, that's 20% off and free shipping with code FUNSPECULATION at manscaped.com. Manscaped, hop into the best deal of the year. Let's go. All right. So you can maybe Jim would like a 20% off acquisition code for them, at 20% off instead of having to pay the premium that it usually costs. Because if you look at the values, right, if a company's worth 20 bill, acquisition you're paying closer to like 30, right? And even like these smaller publishers are still hard for them to get. I think Square could be something they could try for, or I think Capcom's kind of unattainable at this point.
They can
maybe
do interesting
Konami?
stuff.
I don't know.
Like Atari, just like a couple months ago, they did like an interesting acquisition where they gave them $1 million and they gave them like 10% stock, and then they said we'll give you another $1 million over 4 years if you perform well. So like you could structure the acquisition in a weird way to where they continually pay it off.
I don't think Square Enix or somebody like that would take that deal.
Yeah, Capcom is currently, I looked up the values of the companies earlier though, but I mean, Capcom is currently 5.5 billion, and honestly, currently they're crushing it. So like, arguably there's not a better time. So like, I was listening to Rand and Jez earlier, like they were arguing that it could be a good time if someone in the company wants out, like the board of directors wants to sell, like they could be selling at a profit, like at a premium. Can't speak today. But yeah, like there's a lot of options out there, but it's hard to say.
Well, Sony, they would have to use some other tactics and stuff to be able to get to this. They can't just use the cash, right? Like Microsoft did. But what's up with all the squirming from Jim? We had a good discussion about this last night, Pong. Is he in panic mode, and is he doing more damage to Sony's reputation potentially, like with this now? I mean, because this last one, we've seen the extreme already from Sony with all of these conjectures and predictions about what's going to happen with Call of Duty and all these crying scenarios. But this one hit a little bit different. I mean, there were some reaches here. I mean, absolutely crazy, going as far as to say, the fickle fan base of PlayStation is going to abandon them if Digital Foundry says that the game slightly performs better on Xbox. Is their proposition that weak? Is their business model that weak, or is he just full of shit? Pong?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah, sorry.
I thought you were letting other people talk. No, yeah, he's, as we talked about last night, he's full of shit. We need to look at this. This is the dramatic stuff. This isn't what they're saying internally at PlayStation. We already know this. This is all for the regulatory bodies. This is desperation. Again, as I've been saying, throw everything at the wall, including the kitchen sink, even though it's not going to stick. You got to try. It's a Hail Mary. You got to look as weak and as poor and as desperate as possible to try to get somebody to say, well, maybe we kind of feel kind of bad for you. But it's not going to work. But Jim's trying. Again, that's his job. He's protecting Sony's #1 spot. He's protecting their bottom line. This is going to hurt. I don't think anybody's out here saying this isn't going to hurt Sony. Of course it is. But it's not doomsday. By any stretch of the imagination. Look at their record sales in the month of February, for God's sakes. This isn't some scenario where Sony is already hemorrhaging players to Xbox and that they are on their last legs here, and Call of Duty deal would be the end of them. It's not even close to that. These are the people that are pouring millions of dollars into PSVR 2, potentially a streaming only handheld device. Like Sony's doing.
They just cut
fine.
their PlayStation VR sales numbers back today.
Yeah,
their production or whatever.
Yeah, that's what the rumor was yesterday from Lucid Arrows, 20% more reduction. But what I'm saying is they're still pouring money into all these other places. If they were in like real panic mode internally, they would be cutting PSVR 2. There would be no mention of this handheld device coming out. Like they'd be circling the wagons and it'd be all on, right? So all hands on deck. We know this is BS, right? Does it make them look weak? Of course it does. Even like I said, even some of their fanatics are talking about it. Like, I don't know why Jim's saying these things. Like, this is crazy talk. So of course it does. But as we've said all along, Jim don't care. Jim don't give a shit what us talking heads think out here. I mean, what his fan base thinks. They've never cared what their fan base thinks. Outside of the fact that they can keep, training them to say Sony's the best and they make the bangers and we're going to pay whatever it takes and nobody else should want free games and nobody else should want subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. That's all they care about at the end of the day. So no, this is just garbage. It's nonsense. Again, if there is any bit of truth to what Jim's saying, then Sony's got massive problems. And that's something we talked about a long time ago. That means, again, you put all your eggs in a third-party basket that you don't have any control over and just hope that things are going to keep going the same as they have been for the past decade for you. That's pretty stupid. And there should be a lot of heads rolling in Sony if that's actually truthful. Because that means a lot of people don't understand business even as well as we do, and we don't run billion and trillion dollar companies, okay? Because it was quite obvious whenever we've talked about this that, mothballing a bunch of your IP in favor of all in on, basically one type. I'm not going to say all one type because they do make Ratchet and Clank and Gran Turismo and stuff. But let's be real. Their type of game, their third person, heavy narrative, action, over the shoulder driven games, they poured all of their money, all of their talent into a lot of them. And meanwhile, let third parties fill in all the rest of the holes that they had that they weren't making games for. So when you do that, this is the risk that you take, that something happens. And like you said, Mav, it doesn't even need an acquisition. Like you said last night, I had said they should have seen the potential that this could happen at some point down the road. And like you said, it's not even about the acquisition per se. It's about the fact that they could lose the marketing deal at any time. Activision could turn around and say, no, we're going to cut a deal with Microsoft this time around. Then what are you going to do? Right? So they should have realized all of this as business professionals, people making a lot of money. But this is what also happens when we talked about it. You're sitting on your throne. You got all this gold around you. You've conquered all the lands, and you just lay back and go, I made it. We got nothing to worry about, folks. We've done it. That's it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Titan rises up, and now you're unprepared. Yeah. Now you gotten fat and happy, and you haven't prepared for any type of future where maybe things don't go the way you plan, and the Titan's knocking on your doorstep. And now you got to change course. And now you got to get ready. Now you got to get the rust off the swords, and you got to start preparing for what you're doing. But again, they're not in the position of completely defenseless here. They're not in that. They haven't just given it all up. They are in a strong position. They're still number one worldwide. There's no doubt about it, at least as console sales go. We talked about the monthly active users. Microsoft has the lead on them there. When they get ABK, that grows exponentially. Microsoft becomes the biggest monthly active user base out there out of anybody because of ABK's position. So, but they've got room to grow. They've got an opportunity to adjust. It's not going to be as quick as it should be because they've kind of played this waiting game out and they're kind of stalling, but they've got 10, 12 games as a service games in production. They're still cutting third-party deals left and right. How many more years they've got of that? Well, that's something we're going to figure out down the road here. But for right now, they're still just fine. So overall, it's BS. But are they concerned? Of course they are. As Jez and Rand pointed out today, and as a lot of people pointed out, one of the biggest blows for Sony in this is that the money that their PlayStation users are going to be pouring into Call of Duty is going to be going directly to Microsoft and Xbox and helping them produce more content to push Game Pass, to push cloud, to do all this stuff. That's the biggest blow to PlayStation right here, is that a lot of their user base is going to be supporting Microsoft directly, because they own ABK now. So at the end of the day, Jim is just doing what he needs to do. It looks terrible, but I didn't expect anything less. Except I could never have written this script, like I said last night. Had you sat me down and said, okay, ABK deal, it gets to the bottom of the barrel, where are they going to go? No, I never would have written Jim coming out and saying, we will never be able to recover from one bad Call of Duty game put on our system. Like that's crazy talk, man. That's crazy.
It's like they're making their whole entire model, their whole business, their whole ecosystem, everything was built on a house of cards.
Right.
You move one, the whole shit crumbles, right? Like, and if that's the case, that's weak. So what we're talking about last night is like, either you're weak or you're strong, right? You can't portray yourself like you're doing the right thing. You got the best ecosystem. You built this thing stronger. Remember all this thing, Game Pass is unsustainable, right? Game Pass doesn't work. All this stuff like, hey, this is we believe in generations. This is the way to do things. We believe in quality. We dictate when next generation starts, right? We don't feel like we can do Game Pass because if we do that, our first party games are going to suffer. You remember all that bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Now they're saying, well, if one game comes out and it's a Call of Duty, which is not even something that they own or have any control over whatsoever, except for paying for marketing rights and some exclusive content. If one game comes out that is a little bit inferior on their machine, they can't recover. They're doomed. Their entire company is fucked if that happens. Is what they're saying.
And remember how it started, Matt. Remember how it started when this all started. It was if Microsoft makes Call of Duty exclusive, then we're screwed.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it started. And now it's gotten all the way to the point like, oh no, if they just give us a 1440p version versus their 4K version, and Digital Foundry talks about it, and the forums go haywire, droves of our fans are leaving us, and it's over with. We're just gonna close up shop, and that's it. Like that's how far it's gotten. At first it was about exclusivity, and now it's to the point, well, they could do something to screw up one game for us, and that'd be it.
Yeah, and if you want to find where Jim's going to be probably this next week, you'll find him in the bathroom stall at the CMA with his mouth sucked against the hole in there.
Whoa.
Psycho.
I think the CMA has a glory hole.
I don't know. They could. You know what I mean? Like,
I
they
think
could.
that's what he said.
I mean, that's his last chance, right? He's already looking desperate. He sounds like a coke addict. That's just like looking to be able to get. I'm desperate, man. I just need.
So
I need
what I've learned
something.
tonight is Sony's next acquisition isn't going to be gaming. It's going to be like Trojan condoms because
Maybe they need to acquire Magnum. Well, Magnum is that like that's just a size.
They need the
I don't know. I'm unfamiliar.
micro Trojans.
Well, in my analogy, Microsoft was the Magnum.
Right. Magnum XL by Phil Spencer. Psycho, why is Sony claiming they're so weak?
Well, from my take since the beginning is that it's crazy that they structured their entire business around Call of Duty, a third-party IP that they never owned, and they structured their entire business because the revenue from Call of Duty funds their first-party games. Now, who the fuck does that? Because last generation, everybody was ready to pounce on Xbox being fucking killed off and ready, and they're cheering. And here's Sony saying we're one bad release of Call of Duty away from being the Xbox of 2013 generation. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? It's insane. It's just bolstering a fucking lie. If they're really that bad, then that's on them. Then guess what? Maybe you should have structured your business around your first party studios and structured up that, and that's what they should have done. And it's insane that it's like a slap in the face to all those studios for even mentioning that. Call of Duty keeps our doors open. The rest of our first party titles, any of those studios, they don't do anything for us, and that is very disrespectful. And if I don't know, if seeing Bungie being the newest acquisition, they're probably like, oh fuck, what did we just get ourselves into right now? And who knows, maybe they're like, all right, we like to buy our way out again. We would like to implement that clause that we put in there, so we need to buy ourselves back out of your out of this deal, because we don't want to be in a company that's going to be closing doors because Call of Duty is going to look better on Xbox. And if Digital Foundries shows the difference, that's it, we're closed, we're done. Thanks for no PS6, as King David said. Maybe he was onto something. Jesus Christ, I don't know. It's just it's insane. It's silly. I never would have thought Sony in all the years acting like this right now and saying the things that they are saying, because back in the Sega, when they first came out, they were ready to annihilate everybody. Nintendo, Sega, they were ready to kill them all. And now we can't survive without Call of Duty. Well, I don't know. To me, it sounds like a really shitty business decision to do that. But I don't know. What does Jasper think?
obviously Sony, I think, is lying, because at the end of the day, they can come out tomorrow with some kind of service and they can be the top of the game. That's kind of what Disney Plus did. Disney Plus, they saw where the industry was going with streaming services, and they're like, we got to adapt. What they do, they launched Disney Plus, and it's now like the biggest streaming service for movies and TV shows. So Sony they're not worried. They just have to adapt, and that's kind of where it's at. And I don't know.
That's something we've always said, Jasper, here, is that eventually Sony's going to jump in. They're just kind of letting the business like unfold, and they're pretending like they're clinging on to this thing. The truth is they just are being pushed forward faster than they've wanted to, right?
Yeah.
And the ABK acquisition is also pushing that further faster than they wanted to. They wanted to kind of edge this along this generation, and maybe by the time that late this gen or next gen that happens, they're more in fold, right? They've restructured PS Plus to have their Game Pass almost service, right? And closer to what Game Pass started as. You know, you're getting some things day one occasionally.
Yeah, third party stuff. Meet Your Maker just came out day one.
Yeah,
on
but
PlayStation Plus.
that's even on Essentials though, which is crazy. It's like it reminds me of like when games would come out for free just randomly on Xbox Live Gold or whatever, right?
Right.
So they're obviously transitioning, but as they've been transitioning, the clever Sony marketing's been, saying the opposite, right?
Yeah.
They've been saying, no, we can't do this. That's not possible here. We can't do this model and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, they're making all the moves, and all you got to do is also look at all the acquisitions they've been making as well. They've been making acquisitions of port studios, of infrastructure type studios, and all these kind of things, prepping for all of this. News came out late last year that they were going to be implementing a PC storefront at some point. Now we got this weird ass device that they're making as well. That's remote play, and it's like they're inching that direction. They're just inching there, but they aren't ready to battle the bull. They're not ready to go head to head.
I'm assuming like in their forecast chart, they probably had that lined up for like 2028 or something when they really wanted to start getting all that cloud and stuff. But with the way Microsoft's putting their money into it, they were like, shit, well, we got to really go in there faster than they wanted to at that point.
Jim I think you're spot on in a lot of ways, Jasper. I think Jim was brought on board to do a lot of the heavy lifting when it came to the numbers to get them ready to start moving in that direction, because they were so far behind and still are so far behind infrastructure wise. It was going to take a lot, but you saw Jim walk in and start cleaning house and trimming a lot of the fat off to try to get them slimmed down. So they could start making moves in that direction. But as everybody has pointed out, Microsoft jumping in with $1 trillion bank changes everything. And once that happened and Microsoft started making big moves to push Xbox forward, that plan that Jim had in place that probably was a 10-year plan or somewhere in that neighborhood to kind of shift their business model more in that direction, now all of a sudden got cut in half, and they weren't ready for that.
And then COVID also kicked in. They saw that shit. Everything's going more remote too, so they got to like
exactly. So I think you're spot on there, Jasper. I think that was the plan ultimately. It's just that everything got accelerated so fast that they can't put on the brakes now. They're trying to. That's why they're trying to kill this deal any way possible, but they can't. It's a freight train that's loose now for them. So they have to adapt.
To me, this feels like a gigantic attempt to just stall the inevitable and like continue to like just pull every last dime they can out of their current business model before they actually have to change anything over. And it's most likely that they're going to switch some gears. I actually cooked up something for the Twitter sphere while we're sitting here. 1 second. Sony, when Microsoft buys Activision, the Joe Exotic meme, we're never going to financially recover from this, is but the thing is, like, I think it's just completely ignorant of them to think that they would continue forever to be able to rely on like the third party. And if anything, it goes back to like what my thinking is. They're in a position of power. And historically in business, like most companies that are in a position of power do everything they can to keep things at the status quo for as long as they can in order to make sure that they can profit as much as possible. And eventually when that gets disrupted, I mean, I hope he's playing it up, because if it does get disrupted, it's going to mean bad things for PlayStation. And if something bad happens to PlayStation, that just means less competition. So I wouldn't want to see the games from Sony go away. But I mean, hopefully he's just playing it up, and that's not the case, because it would be very narrow-minded to think that there couldn't be a big shift like this.
It's got to be. I mean, for how many games have come out and had opposite results on Digital Foundry before for Sony as well? And if they're truly worried about a bad Call of Duty game coming out, you would talk to ABK and tell them to get rid of Sledgehammer. Right? I mean, because Sledgehammer always puts out a bad Call of Duty game for the most part. So I don't know. We got a $2 super chat that says from Jonas the Dad. Shout out to Jonas the Dad. Says, how are fans and studios happy getting deuced on? Anybody want to answer that?
Well, I mean, the fans are getting a big dose of reality, right? They're realizing that a lot of the stuff, like I said before, that we've been talking about for 2 years now, it's starting to come to fruition at this point, and that Sony isn't in the best spot that they could be. Yes, they're still the market leader. They're still doing record sales on consoles, all that good stuff. They're still and they're still fine. But the PlayStation hardcore fan base that is out here, that's been talking all the nonsense, the clowns, the circus, is getting a wake-up call. Some of them are just going to continue to move the goalposts no matter what. But some of them are starting to realize, oh, wait, maybe Sony wasn't ready for Microsoft to start stepping up. Oh, wait, Microsoft is going to have a lot of games coming out. Oh, wait, these purchases, these acquisitions that we keep saying Xbox got no games, they're about to have a flood of games over the next few years, and Sony can't match it. And Game Pass is going to become even a bigger value at the end of the day. So it's a big wake-up call. As far as their internal studios, again, the conversations that we're hearing here, it's fun to talk about. This is stuff that we would never normally see, obviously. But because of the regulatory bodies and how they work, we get access to these kind of comments from Jim. But internally at Sony, it's Confidence City over there. They're not going to their studio saying, oh boy, guys, you know, if this Call of Duty thing goes sideways, I don't know how we're going to pay y'all. Might have to start making some mobile games around here. What do you think, Naughty Dog? What do you think? That's not what's happening, obviously, internally. Again, we had some internal communication from Tom Henderson. I think it was a few months ago, where Jim supposedly was on an internal meeting saying, Game Pass, we've sold more consoles than they've got subs, so who cares about Game Pass? We're not worried about Game Pass. So internally, I think their studios are fine. They understand that this is a part of the business, that Jim's just doing what he's got to do, and he's going to say a bunch of nonsense, and it really, it shouldn't affect you guys at all, because you know how we feel about you, and you know your games are great, and we love you. So I just don't think internally, from the studio wise, it's causing any problems. But their fan base, they're hardcore. Some of them are, having some cold water splashed on them right now from Jim's comments, and realizing that, hey, things aren't as rosy as we all wanted to make them out to be sometimes. Not we, but that side of things. So
well, to come out and say something like this, though, to where it's like they're not going to recover, like, it just seems a little bit desperate, because it's like, if you're truly in a position of power, like, why would you even say something like that when you, like, they should be talking about their plans for the future and how they're going to make gaming better, instead of sitting here trying to get in the way of progress. Like, it's
right, but they want to stall this game,
right? 100%.
Any way possible. Game Pass, like, down to the last.
Even if you get caught with your pants down at that point,
right,
I guess.
Right.
At the sake of your dignity, we're gonna just drag it all out there.
Correct. It's whatever it takes to try to get somebody to listen at this point. Now, it is desperate from a business standpoint, sure, because Jim wasn't lying when he said to Lulu and the rest of the group, I don't want your deal. I want to stop this merger, right? I want to kill this merger. That's real, because at the end of the day, no way Sony wants this to go through. Again, it's going to hurt them. It's just not doomsday scenario that Jim's making out to be.
I think they'd probably be better off if he would have kept his mouth shut, though, at this point.
Probably, yeah. You're not wrong there. Can I just say it's awesome that we have a chat that's looking up glory hole because somebody it's amazing. Only on Xbox Ultimate, let me tell you.
I'm sorry, you guys. This is my fault.
What's a glory hole?
Hey, everybody, you see this code on the screen. We have
Is that the code to get in the glory hole?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to make it to where, see this code here? That's for 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate.
It's kind of.
I fixed it. It's there.
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah, for 1
There we
month
go.
of Game Pass Ultimate for new members only. Though.
Got it. Thanks, man.
This was
Let's go.
this was provided to us from the very generous Chris Jones over at
Hey,
lordsofgaming.net.
what's up, Chris Jones?
So if
Any
you can,
PlayStation gamers in the chat? We're ready to make the switch.
try and grab that code if you get it. Let us know who got it so we can give Chris Jones from lordsofgaming.net the proper thank you. Shout out to Chris. And we do have a very
Thanks, Chris.
super generous community here. And hold on. There you go. And making his name known again is one of the most generous people we have in this chat. Always hanging out. Grasso himself, the one and only Tony Grasso, hit us with a
Tony Grasso. Let's go.
$20 super chat, dude.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks so
Dang.
much, Tony. It means the world to us, and thanks all the support, everybody. It means the world to us. Never expected, always appreciated for sure.
How many likes we got right now, man?
We're at 46 likes. We got
Okay,
124 people watching here.
Yeah, we got to get that up. Let's get that up to over 100 by the end of the show. I did this last night as a joke, and we actually pulled it off. So anybody sitting on the chat, we all love you. Even if you're lurking, it don't matter. You know how much we love you here. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Please quickly hit that like button because it does help the algorithm. It helps Fun Speculation Network continue to grow. And when you got a great ratio of likes, YouTube really thinks that's cool. So please, let's try to get that over 100. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Appreciate that. Pong pushing our stuff here, as always.
We did it crazy last night. What we had 180 people in chat, and I just threw it out there as a joke. I'm like, let's get to 150 by the end of the show.
Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, we did. We slightly broke it even. We hit like I think it was like 151 or 152 right at the end of the
Okay.
show. So that was
Yep.
crazy. Also, everybody, we do have some merch. Ooh, whoa, blown up like crazy. Kate revamped our merch shop here, and I've been pushing it on each one of our shows, just showing off our hard work this week. So if you're interested in any of the merch for Fun Speculation, that does help us as well. Again, never expected, always appreciated. But there's a link in the chat, and there's more than just what you see here. There's lots more there to look at. So check out that if you're interested, and let us know what you think. And we'll have some surprises coming with different merch in the next couple months.
Yeah, Kate, we might need a CMA Glory Hole t-shirt.
Can you make this? Just put a big
Him Ryan's
hole in
face.
the middle of it. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Those that don't know what a glory hole is, let me explain it to you right now. So, no, I.
When you come over to my
Describe
house,
its various uses.
Yeah, we can't.
Michael's got one in every room in his house.
Yeah, imagine a pickle, and imagine a hole. Somebody puts a pickle through the hole.
It's an
And then-
anonymous pickle.
And
It's
then
an anonymous
somebody
pickle.
else that's on the other side of the wall
Eats that pickle.
really likes pickles. So they
Oh, God,
decide
what-
they
what-
want to.
What's Pickle Papa doing?
They want
What's he doing
to.
over
Oh
there?
my! I don't.
I think he's demonstrating.
Oh no!
Is that
Oh, no.
is that a bunch of semen floating on that sheet? Or what is
He's got a giant black light in his room.
Wait, here he goes. Is he gonna have one pickle sticking out between us? This is what we're doing.
Are
The
we?
question is that too far?
Well, I mean, we already put a condom on a pickle during this show as well, so I don't know what's too
I don't
far at
think
this
so.
point. No,
What-
I think
what?
we're safe. I mean, we're just
Pickles.
we're just explaining what people that if let's say that.
Is this the birds and the bees talk I was promised?
There you go. That's it. Imagine it's a bathroom stall instead of some sheets
It's
with floating
educational,
jellyfish.
folks.
There
on
you
it.
go. See? Yeah,
Now-
exactly.
Now
Perfect.
imagine you're on the other end and you're really like
Yep.
eating
Yeah, you-
pickles. And
right.
and let's say you're
Right.
the pickle and you really like to be eaten. You would go
I'm
on
a
one
pickle.
No, you don't show your face.
Oh,
side. Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be anonymous. That's the point of
It's
it.
anonymous. Yeah. yeah, yeah.
Is that pickled feet that we just saw? God.
That's on Pickle Papa's only fan.
Charlie says no more glory hole talk.
Yeah. And Enzo goes, say, what am I listening to right now?
Yeah.
Come on, Ed. You're on Xbox Ultimate. You know where we go here.
So I do have I have a little funny story about glory hole.
No.
Okay.
Whoa.
So for real. So I'm a Cowboys fan, right? And but this was preseason at the
Cowboys fans do like glory holes, yes.
well, so, I'm a Cowboys fan, and at they do the whole training camp press conference and stuff like that, talk about the season ahead and all the excitement, right? So Jerry Jones, who's an oil man, right? He comes from oil money or in the oil business, right? He's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He decided to make a reference that he thought was regarding oil, because in the oil industry, the term glory hole means striking oil, and you find the hole full of money. It's black gold coming out of here, right? It's a glory hole. So he was
same concept.
Yeah. So, but Jerry Jones was decided in his press conference to say that he loves glory hole, and he's looking for some glory hole during the press conference, and the whole press just started like cracking up laughing, and he had no idea why. He was like, "What did I say? What did I say?"
He said what he meant.
Like, "What did I say, guys? Did I say?" So somebody whispered into his ear what it meant, and he's like, "Oh, okay." But that was anyway. That's a true story.
Yeah, we want that too. Goddamn it, let's do it.
So if you Google Jerry Jones glory hole, you might find what I'm talking about, or you might find some other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just make sure safe search is on that one.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a gaming podcast, everybody. So we're gonna get back to talking about Xbox.
Everybody's blaming Red Monkey Butt because he's the one who asked what a glory hole was.
Tony Grasso said nothing left to imagine of Game Pass adds curves. Tony, look me in the eyes. You're welcome.
Wow.
Oh God,
Oh, man.
I played music. Sorry.
Yeah.
We
One
didn't hear it.
differ says, "What is this nonsense in the thumbnail?" Well, we were honoring Joe Staten, Master Chief, giving the farewell salute, Joe, because he's leaving Microsoft. That was a weird segue into. Anyway, let's get back to shitting on Sony. Yeah, desperation. I want to read Foss Patton's tweet, right? Because Foss Patton's has been on fire covering all of this stuff, right? Regarding ABK, all the acquisition stuff and everything, right? So he made some stuff known today, kind of on what the update is regarding this. He's a couple updates from Foss Patents. He said Discovery closes today in 2 antitrust matters involving Activision Blizzard. So the FTC merger case and Google Play antitrust litigation. Well, UK CMA is preparing remedies working paper. Also, he said that let's see, this is from Idle Sloth, I think, covering the same stuff. Says CMA will send the remedy working document with the variables of the possible remedies and with the provisional decision next week. Microsoft will have 5 days to respond. CMA will make its final decision. Then back to Foss Patents. I just want to give everybody kind of the update on what's going on. Basically, Foss Patents ended this saying that while UK CMA is preparing remedies working paper, Sony is panicking right now. I think there's panic there because I think they know what's in store for them, right? So at this point, does Sony ever reach a level of acceptance with this thing? I mean, the fan base has started to, like you said, Pong.
Yeah.
But this effort seems so desperate.
I'm gonna have to.
What is their next move after the CMA approves this?
I'm gonna have to.
Do they come
Again,
out publicly and say something like, "Oh, we
Sure.
understand," you know?
No, they could come out publicly and still be against it and still say it's awful and this is going to hurt the industry. They continue down that road, but behind the scenes, they're going to sign a Call of Duty deal. I mean, there's no question about it. They're just going to have to eventually move on from it. So, the longer that they do continue to go on about it, the worse they do look, and eventually it will come to a point where you got to be like, okay, all right, guys, Like, it's over. You did your best, but you lost. And this is the way business works. As everybody knows, there's no made up rules as much as some people would like there to be, that it's got to be fair, and it's not fair that Microsoft has more money. It is what it is. Big bank take little bank. So eventually Sony does have to give in. They got to move forward. A showcase. They need to do a showcase. Man, flat out. I heard some of their people calling for a showcase. Like, listen, you got to get back to being Sony. You got to do what you do best, which is get your base ecstatic with selling hopes and dreams. You got to show off Spider-Man. You got to show off Wolverine. You got to talk about the new PS5 coming. You got to do a big showcase, and that'll make a lot of people forget all this nonsense as far as your fans go. So it's time to move forward, start to get back to business again, and get ready for the future. You got 10, 12 games as a service coming. Start showing them off. Let's see what you got. Start showing your hand. So that's where I think they got to go.
They're also going to continue investing in other studios and purchasing them. So
and weird accessories for the PlayStation 5.
No, Sony is going to start with a rock and grow that rock into a flower, and grow that flower into a game studio, and then buy that game studio that they grew.
It's hard. It's hard to make a case that you're so weak and fragile as a company when you waste so much R&D money on stupid shit.
That's what I said. Yeah. It is. If you look at it realistically, it is. It's awful. I mean, the optics don't work. Oh, hey, we're making all this investment into niche products like the PSVR 2, and we're going to come out with some random handheld that only works connected online and to your PS5 all the time. Like, that doesn't say failing company to me when you're trying this kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't.
I want to read first off this $5 super chat from Spartan661. Shout out to you. Thanks for the $5 super chat. It says Xbox does more than any other system has ever done for their customers. That's why you have a lot of loyal Xbox fans, actually, because of the value that we get, and the open ecosystem, the accessibility. What's been lacking for the most part is the avalanche of games that we're now starting to get this year as well. So we've said this for a long time, though. Once that box is checked, it's like, what else? There's nothing else left to really like ask for, or you know what I mean? We could ask for remote play handhelds. We could ask for VR headsets.
Maybe they're so desperate they're just throwing everything out there and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, but I think this year, like, Xbox fans eating good, they're happy. Best value out there, and this is a model that I think that Sony eventually is going to try and copy. Because this is what they will need to do in the future to survive. And that's not just based on Microsoft pushing them there. It's based on tech. It's based on technology and where that's all going. But thanks for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that as well. I want to read this from Foss Patton's website, actually, as well, because he broke this down in his section about the CMA remedies working paper expected while Sony is panicking. This is what he says. He says, the UK Competition and Markets Authority amended its provisional findings on March 24th based on a consideration of all the evidence and arguments before it, and co-signed the PlayStation theory of harm to the dustbin of merger review history. There was a deadline on March 31st for responses to that update, and it appears that Microsoft obtained an extension by a few days. Yesterday, the CMA published the public redacted versions of the feedback it received, and a UCL researcher, Joost Rietveld, and that's a professor that actually came out saying that he didn't even believe that the cloud market was even something that should be considered in this, because it's not big enough yet, right? So that was interesting. Based on all the feedback from these responses, you have Sony, Google doing their thing, right? And you have, again, it seems like anybody else who's not Sony or Google at this point is always saying, hey, we have no problem with this, right? So Foss Patton says he commented quickly in the form of a 4-part Twitter thread and provided further observations of subsequent tweets. But Microsoft argues that even the updated provisional findings still overstate the incentive for foreclosure, and that the residual concerns over cloud gaming are based on a foreclosure theory that isn't any stronger, only because it has not undergone a similar revision. In any event, Microsoft points to its access deals with NVIDIA, Boosteroid, and Ubidus. So even though Microsoft continues to argue for unconditional clearance, remedies are on the table. Professor Rietveld lays out a typology of cloud gaming services and disputes that such services even constitute an antitrust market. In the following tweet, he explained his decision to chime in and thankfully shared the first tweet of his thread on the submission. So Rietveld's tweet says, the CMA Gov UK's investigation into the Microsoft ABK acquisition is nearly done. After narrowing the scope of the investigation to cloud gaming, I felt inclined to chime in. Submission is now published. His argument is that cloud gaming is not a distinct market. Sony's submission is the clearest sign yet of PlayStation maker staring into the jaws of defeat without any realistic chances of snatching victory from them. I remember last week we said that I think this is like 100%, right? Foss Patton's sensing the desperation here. He says, by calling the evolution of the CMA's take on the console market theory of harm, which was a rational decision in recognition of hard facts, irrational, Sony invokes the standard for appellate review by the UK Competition Appeal Tribunal. While some Microsoft submissions throughout the process have also reminded the CMA of the applicable appellate case law, there's a difference between saying at an early stage that a certain potential theory of harm would not be appeal-proof and doing what Sony did on March 31st, which is to call an actual procedural step the fact that the CMA amended its provisional findings irrational. Basically calling Sony's desperate plea here ridiculous. They don't actually, I've seen multiple people here making tweets that they don't even expect Sony to appeal this because they don't think they have a chance in hell, right?
No.
So once the CMA decision is final, what's the next step? EC, because this is earlier in the schedule.
China.
This is earlier than scheduled for CMA, right?
Well, by the end of the month for CMA, right?
Yeah, but they're saying
April
we get
20.
provisional potential answers next week, and that'll give us
it'll give us a big heads up.
We'll know, right?
Yeah,
but it won't be
in a
final
lot of
until the final, right?
Right. So then you got EC and you got China.
Right. And
'Cause then
China,
the other smaller ones will follow along. So
China
is
is going to be an obstacle. You think that they have to overcome, or no?
some people are wild carding it right now and saying that they're gonna, that China might use this because again they've done it with other deals, that they've held them up on purpose for political gain, and they're saying that this could be the latest one because NetEase has spoken out about it. Obviously, Tencent was in agreement with the deal, but NetEase behind the scenes and their drama that they had with Blizzard and stuff last month or 2 months ago, whatever it was. They've spoken up and said they are against the deal. So now people are questioning whether or not China might hold this up and put this in limbo for a lot longer.
It's also interesting because Activision Blizzard's mostly pulled out of China from like past arguments and stuff. So like they really don't have a market there anyway.
Right. But it's part of the agreement. The main agreement that China has to approve it. So again, like I've said, if they have to go back and renegotiate the deal, I don't think it's a big deal. I think at this point, you're not going to get enough investors to stand up and say, no, we don't want the $95 or where the hell it is per share. Let's go back. We don't want to do this deal anymore. I don't think that's going to happen now. So I don't think a renegotiation, but it is, it could stall this longer. I mean, we could be talking about, closer to the August court date of the FTC. So yeah, China's next, and then the FTC. It all depends what the FTC is going to do and whether or not Microsoft actually does close over the top of them. So
yeah,
could be a while.
Who's going to make the next big acquisition? Will Sony be the one to make it before Xbox, or will Xbox do a double down after ABK closes before Sony can respond?
What are you considering big? I think Sony's
Publisher.
Size.
Yeah.
If it's not Square, then not Sony. I think Sony could close that deal if they decide to, real quick. But that's still up in the air whether or not they want to close on Square. So yeah, no, I don't think it would be Sony. I think Xbox has the next potential outs. I mean, again, EA could do something. They could merge with somebody. We talked about that before. For sure, we know Ubisoft might be on
shrinking down to try to get in someone's pocket there.
Right. So, but I think Microsoft is going to move within a couple years on a Eastern company. So I definitely think it's going to be a publisher.
They've been setting the table in interviews and stuff for that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's, Jez and Rand talked about, we've talked about it, Mav. They talked about it today as well. This political stuff with them getting some Congress people involved and putting out this complaint to Japan, that's Microsoft greasing the wheels for sure over there. That's something like, hey, it's tough to get deals through, but since now we got politics involved, which I hate big government getting involved in anything, but Microsoft has political clout. They've got a lot of people in their pocket. They are using that to pressure Japan so that when they do go make that purchase over there, that the Japanese government is more hands off than normal and allows it to go through, and as a show of good faith to America that, hey, no, we're not trying to close our borders to acquisitions over here. We're not trying to make sure that our companies stay strong and nobody from America can come over here and do anything. They're Microsoft might have a much easier road over there this time around with a publisher.
Yeah. I don't know what Sony's gonna do. I feel like they gotta respond somehow.
I think it'd be Square if anything, but
but it's tough to say what they can pull off, right? I mean, if you're Sony, do you even need to buy Square? Because all their games are like the good ones are exclusive anyway.
Well, if you're worried that Microsoft comes in and takes Square from underneath you, yeah.
Right.
Because
you also can lock that content down in the future too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Again, I don't doubt that Microsoft is not looking at Square because of the mobile side of things and because that would, secure Final Fantasy, which they can't secure right now, and it would cause more problems for Sony, for sure. I mean, can you imagine the stink that Sony would raise over that one? Jesus.
Would that be the best acquisition for Sony, Square? You guys think, or somebody else? I mean, who would you like to see them? Let's say that putting our PlayStation.
Honestly, I think Ubisoft. If they Ubisoft would be the best because they would diversify their game library 100%. A lot with that.
Splinter Cell exclusive on PlayStation.
I think a Take-Two acquisition would be huge for either side.
They just can't afford that though. Is the thing.
I mean, they possibly could. Like I said, it was a lot of leverage, but I mean, at that point, it could be possible. Stranger things have happened, and Grand Theft Auto prints money. There's a lot of strong franchises there. It's in line with the single player experiences, and would also bring more multiplayer experiences there with the Grand Theft Auto Online and Red Dead Online. So I feel like that would be a real strong one to be considered if there's a chance to get it. But most likely, I feel like their closeness with Square would make the most sense.
Yeah.
The premium you would have to buy to convince Take-Two shareholders to sell at this point,
right,
would be pretty ridiculous. Actually,
especially with GTA 6 right around the corner.
Right around the corner,
because they know their shit's gonna just go up like crazy once GTA 6 comes out.
Correct.
So
that's the only thing with Take-Two.
And when they make these acquisitions, they're making them based on projections and value and stuff like that. So, projection for Take-Two is a lot higher than what they would be right now. And
if I was a Sony fanboy, then that's the one I'd be wanting.
And we've seen that.
For
of course.
Right. What'll hurt Microsoft the most? That's what we want.
But I feel like Microsoft moved pretty quickly between the ZeniMax acquisition and Activision Blizzard. So no matter what, Microsoft said that they're not done. So I think we could be surprised within another year after this one closes, seeing another acquisition of that proportion.
Another reason Ubisoft makes sense for Sony is because the current battle right now for Sony and Microsoft is the Western market, because Xbox has taken some of that share, and with Ubisoft you kind of get that share back because they already have the East locked down. They don't really need to invest in the East because they have 96 to 4% there with Xbox. So Sony's smart investment would be going West, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, Ubisoft would make sense, but they would be expected to cut the same type of deals Microsoft is doing now that the table's been set, right? Microsoft would raise the same arguments that Sony has if Sony does go after like a Ubisoft to be like, hey, hold on. We want Assassin's Creed in perpetuity. We want, and we want parity, and it would be the same arguments
Yeah.
all over again.
Oh,
And
God, that'd
Microsoft
be
has the
hilarious.
legal team in the war chest to
Yes.
drag that one out
Yes,
too.
they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, it would be crazy.
I mean, honestly, though, like most likely the next big acquisition is going to come out of surprise from like neither of these companies. Like it's going to be like fucking Amazon buying Embracer or some shit like that, and be like,
That's a good point. Like Amazon is somebody to keep an eye on within this. They could make a big publisher acquisition. They're already working with Embracer Group
I think
on
they did
Lord of
just
the Rings.
let go of like 100 or like at the
Or,
1,000
I mean,
game devs
Tomb
or
Raider,
100
sorry.
game devs, something like that. Amazon just let go of a couple of their games devs. So
Yeah.
Apple might be in the hunt too, because of the mobile market being opened up. They might want to actually start owning some IP and some devs. So that could be another one too.
Yeah. Who do you think, Psycho? You're quiet. I'm trying to get you to speak. I know you're probably playing something.
Yeah, he's playing. What's the
Oh, I-
question?
What are we
I would-
talking about, guys?
I'd rather.
You
We
lost
talking
me
about
at
glory holes?
You lost me at glory hole.
The next big acquisition that would be snagged up will not be Sony. They only have 5 billion, so whatever they do get, it's going to be a Western a studio, because they need more of those Western type. People were hinting at CD Projekt Red. I'm thinking more, maybe they try to grab maybe something that has what is it, like a certain affinity. I know we wanted
That would be bad for Xbox.
Oh,
That would be
speaking of
no.
CD Projekt
really
Red, that
bad.
reminds me, I posted in the game chat today, there was a new game coming out called like Berlin 2087 or something like that. And what's interesting is on their website, they have a Sony trailer. So I don't know if Sony's already got marketing rights for that game, but it's a new studio and this is their first game. So Sony could be like looking into that.
Yeah. They've also, wasn't it at like a Game Awards or something like 2 years ago, they announced like a new studio that like Sony was like funding their first game. You know, they're kind of doing stuff like that
They're
quite
like,
a bit.
yeah, they're like getting first timer studios out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
That's
and
what they
those
did
will
with
eventually.
Jade and Haven.
Yeah.
That's what they did
Right.
with Jade Raymond and funded her studio and then made the acquisition.
What
So,
we've seen from them for the most part, besides Bungie, like Sony looks for good deals on dev studios, and Bungie was like different because Bungie's technically a publisher. They're publishing Destiny themselves and stuff at this point, but also like they have a much bigger history in a big studio, right? So Bungie being like the biggest thing they've done, like I don't know what would be after that. You know?
But if this changes things though, Mav, if Sony Corp is looking at this realistically, this ABK deal changes the landscape,
Right.
And it forces them to do something. And as far as their $5 billion budget goes, that can be up, that can be approved. The board would have to approve it. They
But
can do
also,
that.
Sony probably doesn't want to put their entire budget
No,
into PlayStation. They
they-
want to have
they
some extra
don't-
wiggle room to spread around.
They don't want to,
Yeah.
but they might have to at this point, right? They're gonna have to do something. I'm not saying Take-Two. I'm not saying anything outrageous. I think Ubisoft would be a great buy for them. But they're not. I don't think that after this ABK deal goes through, I don't think Sony Corp is gonna be like, nope, we're not increasing your budget, PlayStation. You guys got it, Jim. Just deal with it. Just deal with it, Jim. I don't think that's going to
Make
happen.
more
I think there is going to be
accessories.
a little more hope. Yeah, make some more accessories. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they are going to open up the books a little bit, and they're going to go outside of their comfort zone, and they can raise capital. There's a bunch of different ways they can do that. They've got a lot of debt, but they can also raise capital. I think Corp is going to have to respond in some way to this. I think they're going to have to give Jim some freedom to go make a bigger buy again, to try to shore up some holes that they do have, some glory holes that they have. So.
You got to go patch those.
We know how much Jim loves those, right? So
Jim, you made all these holes in your office. Now we're gonna patch them all up. What the fuck?
no, don't patch
That's my
them.
special
That's
hole.
how I
Well,
make
there-
our money that I need for acquisitions.
They're filling in the one for Activision right now, so
Yeah.
they're making room.
Ubisoft is an interesting thought. I mean, they would be obtainable because their shit's like way down, right? They it would be a risky acquisition though because of the amount of developers they have. The
You could buy them
turmoil
and
going
just
on.
fire 15,000 people.
And you might wind up in a battle with Tencent,
Yeah,
which could make things interesting.
yeah,
And Tencent could drop money in like nothing and buy up more stock. So
they have a lot of different projects that they understand monetization and all that kind of stuff too, though, at Ubisoft, right? So that would be.
Do they though? Because they haven't had a game to hit.
Well, like,
Well,
there's
they
a
do
lot
the
of
monetization
Assassin's Creed.
first, and then they
Yeah.
then they bring the game in.
You know, like they've done a lot of it in the recent years with Assassin's Creed games. They have like the Rainbow Six Siege, you know, that they've done a good job with that. They have not done a great job with some of the other stuff, you know, but of recent years. But that would be interesting. It's not something I would. Do you think whatever Sony does here, the publisher would mostly be exclusives, or would it be like sort of like existing IP have to be everywhere, kind of like what Xbox is doing?
it depends what
Yes.
publisher it is. If you're talking about,
Like Ubisoft
mainline-
has like
yeah,
fucking, you know,
they
so
would
many big
have
fancy.
IPs.
to. They would have to do some of the same rules that Microsoft.
Yeah,
has
because
now laid
there's
out
the
for
one
it.
setting the press,
Yep.
been
Yep,
arguing
correct.
for that precedent. Right?
Correct. Correct.
So
Yep.
that's interesting. Speaking of Ubisoft Plus is heavily rumored to be launching imminently on Xbox, which
Not if Sony buys them.
yeah. This was something that was announced early last year, that hey, later this year we'll have more news on Ubisoft Plus coming to consoles, coming to Xbox. Then Sony made their announcement that it was going to happen, and then it just didn't happen. Right now we're into April of this year, and Ubisoft Plus is still not here. However, two different sources have now said that it is coming. I forget the name of the Twitter from like last week, is like last Sunday or something. They had said that script leaks on the website say that, or reading the scripts. And I wish Fuzzy was here because he knows how to web crawling and this kind of stuff, right? Fuzzy's gone today. He's taking the night off because he's dead tired. So shout out to Fuzz. We miss you, man. But this was like a web crawler type insider that finds stuff online on websites, and he said mid-April, like April 12th or so, we were going to get Ubisoft Plus. And then was it yesterday or the day before? Jez Corden from Windows Central said Ubisoft Plus is imminent on Xbox. So
And he said today they've seen it in the UI getting ready.
Okay, so that
for Ubisoft Plus, yeah.
yeah,
indicated.
that's where we talked about this all this updates that we're getting, guys. You know,
Yeah, the UI logos have been in the Xbox ecosystem for like a year now. It's like
yeah. So what do you guys want to see? Like Game Pass Dad, Pickle Papa, Glory Hole Pickle Man. What do you want to see?
I like that last one.
What do you want to see from Ubisoft Plus? How do you want to see it implemented on Xbox?
I mean, I feel like as an add-on or like an additional channel, kind of like how you can do with like Amazon Prime, like I don't really feel like I would go for that. Personally, I would really love, because honestly, EA Play, I don't feel like was that successful in the beginning either when it was an add-on. So for me on Xbox, I would love to see a deal where it's just part of Game Pass, just like anything else. But it's hard to say that Ubisoft would go for that. Like, I think most likely they'll probably try and make it something that you can add in. But in an ideal situation, I would like to see it as part of Game Pass Ultimate, because I'd really like to revisit some of those Ubisoft games I might have skipped over for a long time at this point. And I do feel that a big value add from Game Pass to these companies is like the microtransactions and downloadable content. So there might be a big enough argument there to make that it could be reasonable to see. But I feel like it's not going to be very successful if it's its own thing comparatively if it were part of Game Pass.
So what if they like gave you a discount if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber? Let's say like Okay, if you just subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, it's $15. But if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, for an additional $5, you get Game Pass. You get
I
Ubisoft
mean,
Plus.
I feel like that's what they're gonna try and do, but for me personally, I'll probably skip it at that point, or maybe add it on in a month if I feel like I need to play some Assassin's Creed or something, or go revisit some Splinter Cell or Rainbow Six titles. But honestly, I don't really enjoy those games as much anymore to really invest in them at that level. I don't feel like.
Yeah. What does Ubisoft have coming this year, guys?
There's an X Defiant closed beta test or open beta test, something like that.
Sea
this
of
week.
Thieves.
Sea of Thieves?
Sea
No.
of Thieves.
Skull and Bones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some bones.
Is that actually coming out this year?
Probably not. Assassin's Creed Mirage is supposed to.
But that's been rumored to be delayed to 2024.
Yeah, so like the thing with Ubisoft for me is I don't want it automatically included in Game Pass because I know it's going to raise the price. At least maybe not at launch, but initially over time it will. I want Ubisoft to be an add-on that you have to go out and actually spend an extra $5 to add it on, just because I feel like a lot of Ubisoft games, to me personally, the ones I like are one and doneers. So I would get Ubisoft for that 1 month, beat that game, and then unsubscribe to save me money. But I don't know. That's just kind of the way I feel about it.
Yeah. I'm trying to see, like, so Assassin's Creed Mirage would be a possibility. Skull and Bones is a possibility. We just got Anno 1800 on console. So that's one. Last year they had Riders Republic. Did they have anything else notable last year?
Extraction was at the beginning of last year.
Rainbow Six Extraction. Man, it's been a week, 1.5 years.
Mhm.
Ubisoft, pretty much. I'm looking at this list. I'm trying to find some Ubisoft gems here.
They indefinitely delayed Settlers or whatever that was supposed to come out.
Console.
Again, another delay from Ubisoft. What about Avatar? That could hit this year.
Yeah,
Could.
Motor, the Crew 3 Motorfest or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, that one, the racing game.
Mhm.
Okay.
That just got leaked. Someone leaked the initial like starting video screen, so that's probably closer than it is farther away.
We do know they're having their press conference on the 12th, I think.
Yep.
Or yeah, on June
Monday.
12th.
Yeah.
Right at the day after the Xbox showcases. So what we've said on some of our shows is it makes sense for me if they were to get this service up and running before they have game announcements, maybe to happen, so that way that when the game announcements hit harder, that you can get them in Ubisoft Plus and you can promote that. Unless they were planning on announcing it all at once, which we thought might happen last year, but they didn't end up doing it. Instead, we got a horrible Ubisoft show, one of the worst shows I've ever seen, trying to promote their games. This year, I think we might get Ubisoft Plus announced, and then in June, maybe there's surprises that some of these games are actually going to be hitting the service, right? So, I don't know, man. It's just there's not a lot to be excited for with Ubisoft this year. Like really excited, especially Assassin's Creed Mirage, not knowing what's happening with that, if that's actually going to hit this year or not. Is there any hype for Skull and Bones at this point?
I'll play it if I get it for free.
Super secret version that they have.
It's a super
that
secret
nobody's
Super
seen.
duper secret. Yeah.
I don't sense any hype for a lot of the games. So what about let's say
X
Mirage.
Defiant was supposed to be the Call of Duty killer.
Yeah.
oh my god. Better than it was originally. X Defiant was, right? Still way
Beyond
far
good and
away
evil?
from being something amazing.
This
my God.
next beta, they said they're going to allow capture, so people will be able to stream it, and a lot of
Okay.
the public will finally get to see it.
All right. What about what's the Division game again called?
Heartland.
Heartland? Is that
Who
this
knows when
year?
that's coming out? No.
We don't know. Again, Ubisoft has pushed everything. So Mirage was the big one I was looking forward to this
Yeah.
year. So, and if Skull and Bones was in the service, of course I'd play it. It's Pirates. So I'm going to play it, but at the same time, not hyped for it. But Mirage is the one that I would definitely want to play. And Avatar, I've got no hype for. But again, if it's in the service, I'll play it. I'm going to try it out, obviously. That's what I do. So, yeah, no. Ubisoft really, they've shit the bed, man. it's one of my favorite publishers. It's my fast food publisher that I always go to. And they killed it with Valhalla. You know, they carried the beginning of this generation for a lot of people. You know, but Watch Dogs Legions turned out to not be the game they thought it was. And now Watch Dogs is supposedly mothballed for the time being. They're not going to go back to Watch Dogs.
Ghost
and-
Recon, they fucked that
yeah,
up.
they messed that up. I mean, they fixed it eventually, but again, it was too late. Breakpoint is really good right now if you go play it, and people would probably try it again. That's why the service is going.
I was just talking about their next like installment that they were like
next
working
installment.
on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, they've just shit the bed, man. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Yves has screwed up that company to a degree that I don't even think we know yet of how they're going to get out of it. Again, the Assassin's Creed part of things seems to have a vision and seems to have a roadmap and has a green light to do what they need to do to continue the Assassin's Creed, which I'm happy about. Right? I love Assassin's Creed and I love the vision. That whole Assassin's Creed presentation was awesome. I have zero issue with any of that. They do a small game, big game, small game, big game. I'm cool with that. That's fine. I'm good. But everything else right now is up in the air. It's like anybody's guess how this stuff's going to turn out. And that's the scary part. Like, we don't know anything. Far Cry, you know, we got word, hey, Far Cry is back on the, you know, being worked on, the new one. And then all of a sudden somebody came out and said, well, no, not yet. It's not quite being
Well,
worked on yet.
they seem to be turning all the studios into just Assassin's Creed studios because
Right.
they have 10 of them in the works. So it's like,
Right. I mean, again, I understand. I mean, Valhalla made $1 billion, so I mean, I kind of get it, but they got to fix the rest of their ship, man. They're sinking. And
they got
obviously
one
it's
good
not-
milk cow and the rest are all bad.
Yeah, they're all bad, and they don't know what they're going to do with them. So, you know, something's got to happen here. But again, that's why I'd like to see the service come in. I think that's why it's going to be valuable for Ubisoft to get it in there. And I think that's, like we talked about, Mav, last night, maybe potentially, you know, Microsoft's been working Ubisoft over behind the scenes going, hey, you guys gotta need us more than we really need you right now. Let's figure out a subsidized price point that works for both of us where we can squeeze this into Game Pass Ultimate. Let's do that. Let's start there and see how things go, because you guys don't have anything new to promote the service. So how are we going to turn around and tell everybody, well, Ubisoft Plus is in, but you got to pay an extra $10. We're going to subsidize $5, but you guys got to pay $10. I mean, a lot of people, like I said last night, Mav, like me, I already own a lot of the games. Like, it's like Ubisoft sales are all the time. In fact, right now, part of the Microsoft Spring Sale, Ubisoft games are everywhere on there for cheap. So, I mean, what are you going to sell it for? You know, so I'm hoping they get it in there. I hope they squeeze it in there for, you know, again, I say if it was Ubisoft Plus with all the DLC, day one games. If they asked me for an extra $5 on top of Ultimate, and Ultimate all of a sudden was $20 for me, I probably would do it. Anything beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might wait for a new game.
It's a harder sell because of the last year and a half of what's been going on there.
Correct.
Like, if we had been the consistent Ubisoft that we'd seen, you know, I think it'd be a little bit easier. But shout out to Chris Jones, member for 8 months.
Chris Jones, C-Unit.
With the message that says Golden Age of Gaming. Thanks for giving away that code earlier as well.
It is, sir.
Also, Alvin with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Alvin. Said lack of Ubisoft games this year might push them to take the Game Pass Ultimate bag for some 2023 cash. By the time the bangers come out, Game Pass is 50 million subs and it's all good. So
think about Ubisoft Plus, and then the ABK deal goes through, and you got that in.
Yeah.
Game Pass Ultimate would be stupid.
Yeah.
It already is.
The interesting thing would be, would Ubisoft take the EA model where you don't get the game for 6 months to a year later, or would they do it day and date?
Right. That's the question.
I think what they do is they have like the plus tier is extra, and the base tier is in Game Pass like it already is now, because they already do that. Like, if you look in Game Pass, there's like Ubisoft games in there all the time, right? And they've already been dumping a lot of them, so because they believe in Game Pass, right? They believe in the service subscription model. And when they announced this originally, that's what they said. Are you on a swing, Pong? Are you like on a seesaw? Or no? Okay,
It's my chair. My chair rocks.
I saw them back then saying like we believe in the subscription services with all this stuff, and I look forward to the doing this in the future with Microsoft and Game Pass and all that kind of stuff, right? So, I think that what we're going to see is the same type of games that are in Game Pass are going to be in Game Pass, right? And then we're going to see an extra level for Ultimate or above Ultimate for an extra fee, $5, maybe 10. I hope it's not 10. I hope it's 5, right?
Yeah.
If for those games. And I'm hoping that's what all this time has taken for them to negotiate and get this worked out. And I think Alvin's to a good point because they are more desperate now than they were earlier last year when they originally made this announcement, right? So they might be looking for that influx of cash or that quick money of people that they know are going to get access to these games. But without the on the side of the other side of that coin, without a lot of games upcoming or knowing when these games are coming out, does that extra tier have a lot of value right now? And it's going to be interesting to figure out how they're going to do it. Maybe they do just say, fuck it, we're just going to dump the whole thing in there. I just have a hard time fitting that in because when we originally started talking about this, like Ubisoft Plus is a new games day and date service that they sell right now for like $15, right?
Yeah.
Game Pass Ultimate is also $15, right? So you're cramming something that Ubisoft values at $15 per subscriber into another service that's $15, right? So it's hard to fit that together. But to Alvin's point, how many Ubisoft Plus subscribers are there right now? And how many Game Pass Ultimate subscribers are now? There's significantly more Game Pass subscribers. So the other aspects of how that's going to benefit you are going to be much higher, right?
That's the interesting thing because EA has 2 tiers on PC also.
Yeah.
So like, do we get just 1 tier on Xbox with Ubisoft, or do they give us the 2 tiers things like you're saying?
They said
EA's
Plus is the new game tier, right? And when they made the PlayStation announcement, Jasper, they separated it into the Ubisoft Vault and then Ubisoft Plus, which they're going to have more information on later, right? So they've already kind of designated that distinction on PlayStation side.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is like even if it's called Ubisoft Plus, like they could just market that as the console version of their subscription service and not necessarily give you the day and date. They just call it Ubisoft Plus on console when the Plus version on PC is technically a little different.
But I think they've already submitted that when they made the PlayStation announcement when they separated the Vault from the other service. That's yet to come because that's just what it already is then. You know what I mean? And that they could have sold that as a service but they're not. They're just including that with the PS Plus Extra. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what's going to happen on Xbox. They already do it. They just didn't ever call it a name on Xbox. Like this was a big deal for marketing for Sony because they needed to sell stuff on their service. For Xbox, we've already been expecting these games in there. So they came out, hey, we're announcing Ubisoft Vault, including all the shit that you already have. Like that wouldn't make sense. So that's why they didn't announce that on Xbox. Instead, they're just going to keep that the same as I think it is now, and then have this other tier, right? But I just don't know how much and what it's going to be like. But that's why I think it's going to be additional, as opposed to just included into this, right? Because they've already kind of separated that with their original announcements. So, and they also did come out and say Ubisoft Plus is not part of Game Pass, right? So that's why I've been thinking the most we could hope for is like a discount, like an add-on subscription, that's heavily discounted if you already have a subscription, and maybe restructuring the whole way it's implemented on the dashboard for marketing purposes as part of all of this. We've gotten those storefront updates. We're getting the friends and family plan probably soon. The $1 deal was just removed, right? So I kind of sense that this is coming to where we could potentially even see EA, hopefully in the future, do EA Play Plus on consoles as well, right? Because if you have your Game Pass Ultimate subscription, imagine this world, right? You have Game Pass Ultimate, it's $15. Now, if you want,
That's why I
every
want it
EA
add-on.
game
I
day
don't want it
one-
automatically included. I want it to be add-on,
Right.
so you can pick and choose when
Right,
you want that.
right.
So now, if for an extra $5 on top, you can subscribe to EA Play Plus with all EA games day one. Or now you can subscribe to Ubisoft Plus on top of that and get Ubisoft games day one, and whatever subscription services come in the future. That also sets the table in this open-ended ecosystem that Microsoft has envisioned in their mind for potentially other storefronts to be on Xbox in the future as well, right? Because we don't know where that's headed, but that's what they're proposing to a lot of these regulators, even before ABK acquisition, and early on as part of the ABK acquisition, talking about open-ended ecosystem for storefronts and gaming. And they can't say that they want to do that in mobile and have a place on Apple's on iPhones, right? They can't say we want to have a place on this and not be willing to have a place for people on Xbox, right? So it's going to be interesting. In fact, there already is in some ways, because Amazon Prime, like you can log into Amazon, you can pay for movies, you can buy movies through Amazon on your Xbox right now. Right. So I don't know if Microsoft gets a cut of that. I'm sure they do. But I notice whenever we do that, like I don't know if the charge comes from Amazon or if it comes from Xbox. I got to double check that. But you can actually buy movies from the Amazon store on Xbox from Prime Video, and add-on subscriptions and all these kind of things. I think that's where we're headed with Xbox. It's gonna be interesting. Anyway, I rambled. Psycho, got anything to add on this stuff?
Not really.
Can I get a $5 glory hole subscription?
Okay.
Well, the thing is that we just don't know. We have to find out what fucking Ubisoft is going to do, right? Because we've been, it's been a year since we heard about that Ubisoft Plus is coming, and so it's one of those things that I was hoping for. Either there's like a $5 additional charge and we get Ubisoft Plus if you want to add it, type deal. I don't know, because it's Ubisoft Plus would have been great when Ubisoft was putting out games regularly, but they haven't been doing that. They've been trying to chase that holy dollar, and they just been flopping and stepping on their dick ever since. So we'll see.
Yeah. In other smaller news, was this Age of Empires 2 Return to Rome thing, guys? Coming on May 16th? Is this like an expansion or?
I think that was the old DLC from like 2003.
Right, but it was only on PC originally, right?
But that's automatically included in the Xbox version because it's the definitive edition.
But they're saying it's coming. They made it. They
What
said
is
it's
it?
coming on May 16th. It's the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition Return of
Yeah,
Rome.
but people bought it and didn't play it in Game Pass.
Unless if it's like the Return to Rome it's the 4th DLC. So it was announced on October 25th, 2022. I think that maybe there's adding more like Roman civilizations. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a huge. I love an Age. It's my favorite game on Game Pass this year, actually.
Oh, the DLC I was thinking about was called Rome at War, and that came out in 2001. So yeah, I guess they're just going back to Rome and going to add more like those type of civilizations.
Is that going to be in Game Pass, or we have to pay for it?
Well, you have to pay for the newer DLC, so I'm assuming you probably have to pay for that one.
Okay, right on. Also, there's a lot of positive previews for Minecraft Legends going on right now. I saw one earlier that said that it was like a great blend of like typical Minecraft was like strategy games, and that it was
Yeah, I
like,
think
really
it was either Tom Warren or Tom Henderson. One of them said it's more PvP than they expected or something like that.
right.
So whatever that means.
I think maybe Minecraft Legends might be a little bit more of a surprise good game than we've anticipated at this point.
I think it's gonna be a niche game that I don't know if a lot of people. It's gonna have its own audience. It's gonna be like an RTS where the people who like to play those type of games play it. You know.
Right. I'm more excited for it after seeing the previews and the excitement behind the good feedback for Minecraft Legends, because it's one of those games we had no idea what to expect, and now previews are out there and people are like, "Hey, this is surprisingly good," right? So I'm intrigued. We get it in Game Pass day one.
The good news is it's gonna all those Minecraft kiddos, they may hop into it because it's Minecraft, so they may become RTS lovers or whatever. So
yeah, exactly. Maybe they'll play the next thing.
Yeah.
Gateway drug. Let's go.
Yeah. We need more gateway drugs out there, so that way they'll make Halo Wars 3.
And Age 2 Definitive Edition's getting a new expansion as well.
Really?
we were talking
Wait,
about that.
yeah.
when you
I had no idea, Pong.
I was gone for that one.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
gone for that
Yeah,
one.
okay. All right.
Yeah, so you excited for the Age 2 stuff?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. More age, the better. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we got Railway. We got that announcement this week too. We got Railway Tycoon 2 coming to Game Pass in May as well. So
Last Case of Benedict Fox is coming later this month, which is a highly anticipated indie game. Also, that Cassette Beast game is coming this spring to Game Pass day one as well. That was at the ID at Xbox. But there's also a little bit of other interesting news, because Xbox has actually just made another acquisition.
oh, not Xbox.
Bethesda.
Bethesda,
ZeniMax Online.
Yeah.
part of Microsoft, part of Xbox, right? Is this marketing wise? Is that a way to kind of skate the?
Yeah, because because they still run themselves, right? So
Right.
they are able to do this. Yeah.
But it's still another studio under the ZeniMax umbrella,
Correct.
which is part of Xbox,
Yep.
right? So they've acquired Nemesis Games in Budapest, Hungary. The studio will be known as ZeniMax Online Studios Hungary, and the team is working on Elder Scrolls Online as well as unannounced projects. So
Projects.
that's the
Plural.
interesting thing here, because
Plural.
we knew that ZeniMax Online had one other unknown project, but this
And remember, I hit up one of the heads
Plural.
on Twitter, and he said, no, one. But now this company is saying projects. So there is-
projects.
yes.
So what else is ZeniMax now? Unannounced projects could also be like expansions for
Sure. Could be.
Elder Scrolls Online, right? The next expansion could be a project. But if being separated, that they say Elder Scrolls Online and unannounced projects, makes me think it's separate.
We know Starfield
It's gonna get an MMO.
is being worked on. Yes, we know that they have already started. Like, it may be very early, but they've certainly started on it. We know this. Come on.
Yeah. Was it? You said that it was like concept art that came out originally by the artist that was like spacey shit.
That was that was Sculzy when we had
Sculzy?
Sculzy on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sculzy I think was one who brought that up. Yeah. Because we talked to him specifically about it, whether or not he thought it was coming.
Right.
So yeah.
And he was thinking Star Wars at one point, and then that was
Yes.
said no by the devs, right?
Correct.
So, but it's still rumored to be some kind of new IP, or which Starfield technically is a new IP. So
This,
And they've got one they've been working on for 5 years, or almost 5 years now, which is going to be the first one announced, and then Starfield's got to be in the background. So
yeah,
you know ZeniMax Online is
what is
This,
it? What is it though?
This Nemesis game studio is like all over the place with the shit they've made.
They've helped.
Like-
They're a big support studio.
Yeah, like they've made iPad games, they made PSP games, they like made VR games. They're like
They made
everywhere.
every damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is great.
golly.
You know, Microsoft needs these types of studios, so that's why it's
Yeah.
Infinity's
I'm surprised Sony didn't snag them up. Does it be a Sony type snag because they like them?
No,
tiny
because they have
little-
never worked with them before, really, outside of PSP games, which is a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
No, they snatch up things they're working on currently with people.
But
That's what they do.
organic growth, Pong.
Well, I tell you what, you guys,
Psycho,
we
did you
wasted
just
a lot
like
of
take an
time.
upper? Like you haven't talked at all, and now you're just like
Yeah.
yelling.
We wasted a lot of time trying to stall this Microsoft deal. So we're getting a new thing together. We're gonna bring PSP games to PS Plus. Let's make it happen.
Good.
That's
Let's
the
bring Vita
innovation we
games.
need.
They should
for our cloud gaming device.
Oh, yeah,
No,
that-
I think ZeniMax Online is working on multiple projects, obviously, and I think, but the new one, nobody knows, man.
Yeah.
Nobody
It's gonna.
knows. what
When
this
do
thing
I
is.
think you think we get that announcement this year?
Yeah, I do.
I do too.
I do.
Because they alluded to how excited they were about that at the ZeniMax Bethesda show when they sat down with all the devs and
Is it in
welcome
12
them.
months?
Well, that was a question I was going to bring up, Matt. I was going to bring up a quick question because Jez and Rand talked about today, and I thought that was interesting because Rand brought it up.
Yeah.
Their showcase this year not having Bethesda labeled. Is that them transitioning to just, hey, we're known as Xbox and they're part of Xbox now? Or are we not getting anything from Bethesda at the showcase outside of obviously the Starfield deep dive? Is Bethesda not going to have anything at this showcase? Is this going to be all Xbox Game Studios this year?
It would be interesting if they did a separate whole Bethesda show later.
Right. Like a QuakeCon, like Jez brought up.
Yeah.
Make QuakeCon bigger. Because we've talked about this a lot, right? Because they get ABK, right? They have a lot each year to show, and they've got to use other showcases. So do they now try kind of transition where everybody kind of gets their own, because they're going to own BlizzCon, and they got QuakeCon for Bethesda. Are they going to start beefing up those, shows to be kind of the showcase place for all, for their acquisition studios? Like, is that what they're going to do? Like, have that separate show? Not necessarily just focused around E3 time, but, throughout the year. Is that what they're going to go to now?
It's a good thought. I mean, the question is also how long is that Starfield
What-
Direct going to be, right?
I mean,
Because
what
that's
else do they have
a lot of
coming out?
Bethesda, even if they take 30 minutes for it. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
It's going to be at least 30. I think 45 to an hour.
So
Because I mean, they could also if they Starfield's obviously their biggest game, so I don't know what else they would have come out besides we're getting the Elder Scrolls DLC in June, so we're probably not going to get another one this year.
Nope.
So
Indiana Jones.
Indiana
is gonna be
Jones,
shown at some
that's
point.
probably next
yeah,
year.
but it has something they got to be
Yeah.
working on.
Yeah,
Since Doom
th-
Eternal,
I would
And ZeniMax
but that's the
Online.
thing. With the new Xbox Directs, if it's a smaller project, they could maybe shadow drop it like they did Hi-Fi, or just announce it at one of those. So I don't know if Bethesda has enough coming out within the short term that would
Right.
warrant them to be at the Xbox show.
Right, and that's the
Yeah.
question, right? That's the ultimate. Like, is this a marketing deal where Xbox is saying, nope, we're all one big family, we're all Xbox now. We had our Xbox Bethesda showcase, kind of introduce everybody, but now we want everything to be known as Xbox, including Bethesda. Or is this Xbox signaling, no, Bethesda doesn't really have anything to show outside of the Starfield deep dive, so this is purely an Xbox Game Studio show? Like, that's the question that was brought up today, and I thought it was interesting because
Well,
I had not thought about it that
if
way.
that was the case, if it was purely like the Xbox showcase, well, they usually have some third-party stuff there too.
Yeah, you're right. That's
Like-
we know.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's still, if you leave Bethesda out of it, which they know they are leaving Starfield out of it because it's a separate thing.
Correct.
What can we expect to see at that
Right.
point?
Right.
Like, do we? I did hear this part where Rand was talking about it, and he's like, "Do we see Fable? Do we see, Avowed? Do we see Contraband? Do we see
It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
For all these games.
Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3, Everwild?"
Right.
These are games that have existed that we've known about for years now. We haven't gotten any updates on them. Contraband was the most recent announcement of those games. That was 2 years ago.
Probably
Right.
gonna spend a half hour on Forza, obviously.
Ooh, half hour. I hope not. I love Forza Motorsport, but maybe like 3 minutes.
Remember what was it like
Oh.
last year? They spent 25 minutes or so on Forza Horizon 5, for their summer showcase.
Do
Yeah.
we know the official name of this Xbox show? Is it just Xbox Showcase, or is it Xbox Direct?
There's marketing material. Aaron Greenberg's put it out
Because-
there.
Xbox Showcase. I don't
Okay,
think
'cause
it's
I was
got
gonna
direct
s-
attached to it.
I was gonna say, because it was called Xbox Direct, then maybe we're transitioning to where they'd show 4 games. and not-
Starfield is
It's a
actually
showcase.
labeled. Is it
Yeah.
a showcase too?
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Is
Starfield is direct. Starfield direct.
Starfield's
Okay.
direct.
And Xbox
Okay.
Game Showcase. It's a double header, a double feature, right? Which makes me think also that he
It's a
said
triple
that
feature.
there's going to be no attendees to this thing. I think it's going to be
Be digital only.
digital, and then maybe they'll have watch parties like they did
Mhm.
last year, right?
Yep.
But double feature planned. the Xbox Game Showcase plus the Starfield Direct. Meaning I think that we're gonna get the showcase first and then the Starfield Direct after.
They've said it.
Yeah,
Yep,
they've already
said
said
it.
the timings
Okay.
They've
for
said
that.
it. Yep.
And what I want, here's what I don't want to see. I've said this before. I don't want to see a shortened Xbox Game Showcase because they're including the Starfield Direct in a way as part of that, but separating it. I still want the full game showcase and then Starfield's full thing, right?
Right.
So I want an hour and a half because that's what they've been the last couple years of Xbox Game Showcase, and then give me the Starfield Direct, right?
Yep.
But I don't want like 45 minutes and 45 minutes or an hour and 30 of each one, split up like that. Because they got so much they can show. And if they maybe,
That's the question, are they just going to?
I don't know. Like, do they stick?
Right.
Do they do the 12-month thing? If they do,
I
like,
don't
does
think
that
they do
limit
12
them?
months again.
Do you think they heard the
backfired so
feedback
hard.
that not a lot of people liked it?
It backfired so bad
Yeah,
on
yeah.
them. So I don't think they go back to it again. Look at, they even lost a third-party title they had in there, in ARK, right? ARK went from coming out in 12 months
Yeah.
to end of next year,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah,
So
how
it
many
backfired.
games? I wonder if you had put up that whole thing. If we hit each
Right.
one, like what the percentage of games that hit within 12 months would be?
Right.
50, 60%,
It's probably like 85, 90.
85, 90. Well, you see, you
Think
got
so?
Stalker 2. Which not obviously that's no.
I mean, there was what, there was like
fault, but-
40 games on that list or whatever, right? So like you missing 5 or 6. I mean, that's not too many, really.
I'm curious. I want to bring up the graphic.
But yet, like to Game Pass's point, like not 30 minutes of Forza, but like they could end the Forza thing with kind of like a little mini Forza Direct or something in there, like just to
Well,
talk
like they
about
did
it.
with Starfield
Yeah,
last year.
because that would be a game that should be coming out fairly
Right.
soon after that show. So I would assume they would talk a lot about that game.
But we haven't heard from Silk Song. Silk Song was supposed to be in that group. We haven't heard that at all. Like, yeah, I don't think they go back to the 12 months. And I think this year they could do what Rand is suggesting, which they could show us the games that we've had no updates on for 3 years, even if they are, end of 2024 into 2025 stuff. I think that Xbox could go back to that and give us a glimpse of some of those.
Yeah, a little more hopes and dreams out there.
Right, a little bit more hopes and dreams again. I think they certainly could do that because there was at least 4 or 5 that we only got like quick teasers for at the, that's all we've seen. We've still got In Exile, Compulsion. I mean, all this stuff. I mean, they need to show something. I think we do see In Exile for sure this year. I don't know about Compulsion, but In Exile, I think we do.
If the ABK deal gets wrapped up, we could get a teaser Call of Duty in that show.
No, good.
Could
Get a
very
Diablo to Game Pass announcement on that show.
That would kind of suck though. You just bought it and then like 10 days
That's
later,
okay.
it's like it's coming.
Yeah,
again.
that's okay. That's it. I can cancel it. I can cancel pre-order. We could do that. Actually, no, it would already be out. I'd be
Yeah,
fine.
I'm
So I'd be
saying,
happy.
like, 10
I'd be
days
happy.
later.
That's fine. I'd support them. That's fine. It's worth it.
Dude, they
The
would wait.
beta was worth it. I don't care. That's fine. I'm good.
No, they would wait to
Yeah.
announce that just to not
Yeah,
piss
it would
off
be a
everybody.
holiday. It would be a holiday thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they would show a lot of the stuff that's, I think they go back to what made, what was it, the 2021 showcase so great?
But was
I
that
think
Craig?
No, 2020
No, that
was
was
Craig.
2020 Craig.
2021 was Horizon, the new, and the great showcase that we got. We got a little bit of what's coming up, what's in the future. I think that's what they go with because they don't have to say coming out, and they don't have to pin themselves saying, oh, this is the next 12 months, this is whatever, here's a look to the future, here's here's what's coming out soon, and whatever they do, and this is coming, they don't have to give dates, don't as like Pong and everyone, all Xbox fans know that putting a year timeline, fuck it did backfire. It just wasn't
The
good.
second half of the year is still wide open too, Psycho. So they've got to show second half of the year. Hellblade 2, if that's there, that'll have a huge
Correct.
presence, right? They could use that as also a big show for it as well, Like they could go full bore as a surprise. Hellblade 2, give us the full trailer, give us a dev talk about it, and then say, here's the release date in November or whatever it is.
So one of the two guarantees that are at the Xbox showcase is Forza and Age of Empires 4.
Yep.
So I can't think of any other like guarantees. Like, I mean, I would assume they would say like tune in a couple hours for Starfield, but I'm not counting that.
Ara again, maybe.
Ara hold. I don't.
Replaced. They can talk about
Play Silk Song. They got to talk about Silk Song, even if that's
a lot of
second
the
half of the year.
indie.
Avowed, I think, is guaranteed to be there this year for sure.
All right, so I have the graphic up here for last year's 12-month promo. Okay, where they talked about everything coming over the next 12 months, Xbox and PC over the next 12 months. So let's go through this and see what hit. For 2022, they said Naraka, Elder Scrolls Online, As Dusk Falls, Forza Hot Wheels, Somerville, all those came out.
Yep.
A Plague Tale Requiem, Valheim, yep. Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide did not hit.
It's on PC,
It's
so
on PC, so
No.
technically.
No,
So,
doesn't count.
for me,
Hey,
that's a miss.
I complain if I want to.
Grounded came out. The Pit from Fallout 76. Overwatch 2 hit. A High on Life hit. Scorn hit. Atomic Heart hit. Gotham Knights came out. That's just a random third-party game that they threw in
was
here.
Gotham Knights there?
Yeah, it's on this
Yeah.
promo. Yeah,
they also
I
have
don't
Call of Duty.
remember that.
They have a couple of them: Hogwarts, Call of Duty,
Yeah.
Callisto.
they're just trying
Really?
to say everything coming
Okay.
to Xbox.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Gunfire.
I thought this was from the showcase. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Gunfire Reborn.
Yep.
Persona 5 Royal.
Yep.
Out. Modern Warfare 2. Intimate.
Okay.
So far, they're hitting great for the 2022 game.
Oh, wait, these are third-party hits too, so we're not counting. 100%. Okay.
Halo Infinite Season 3. That didn't hit 2022, but it still hit within the 12 months. So,
Sure.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 40th Anniversary Edition. Sure. Hogwarts Legacy, yes. But that didn't hit 2022. It came out this year, but it doesn't matter.
But still,
so that's a third party, anyways.
Third party.
Yeah.
They didn't even have marketing rights, for God's sakes. Come on.
Party Animals.
that's a miss.
Not out
That's
yet.
a miss.
Yep.
Is that coming soon, you guys?
I don't think so. There's been some like
Well-
rough stuff in the background, hasn't there?
There was, but then Party Animals was just at whatchamacallit, wasn't it?
Well, was it?
Yeah, it was just at PAX East.
Oh, okay.
It was at PAX East. They had promotional stuff there for Party Animals. So maybe they're getting closer.
Right.
I got 2 months.
Sky L. No, this isn't game. All these aren't going Game Pass or whatever. These are just the games they said is coming to Xbox within the next 12 months. So that includes some third parties. So Party Animals is a miss. Warhammer Dark Tide is a half miss. So far, great percentage, I'd say. Callisto Protocol, Slime Rancher 2, both of those released. Slime Rancher 2 hit Game Pass day one. 2023. Okay. So here's where we get into.
There's still time.
There's still time. Diablo 4 is on this list. We're just getting that in June.
This is a stupid list.
It
Go.
is. It is. This is, they were trying to draw hype at this. You got to put ourselves in perspective
Well,
because
of course.
they knew what 2022 was at this point, and they're like saying, "We still have games, everybody!" Right?
Yeah.
So
Right,
that's why they came out with this. Diablo 4, so Redfall. It's scheduled to release May 2nd. It looks like it's actually going to happen. No reason to think
Better.
otherwise.
Jesus.
Starfield.
Nope.
Missed the 12-month window.
We're 2.5
over the next 12 months. It's not hitting it. So that's a miss. Forza Motorsport.
Nope.
That's a miss.
3.5.
Minecraft Legends is hitting. Aura History Untold.
Nope.
4.5.
Wolong hit.
Hit.
Stalker 2.
5.5.
Flintlock.
We don't know. Still don't have a
Yeah.
date.
I don't have a date on it yet. Aiden Chronicles 100 Heroes.
Don't have a.
Where's Chris Jones? When's the date on that? Do we know the date for Aiden Chronicles 100 Heroes yet?
I don't know if we got a date.
League of Legends that hit.
All that stuff hit on PC Game Pass.
League
which
of
they said
Legends,
it
Wild
was,
Rift, Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, all this stuff is part of that Relic deal. Legends of Runeterra, is that part of that Relic thing? I think it is.
Maybe.
No, we still don't have a date for Ayuden Chronicles.
Okay,
Heroes.
so
it just says 2023.
unknown on that one.
It's possible.
That is a Game Pass game as well. Arc 2.
Nope.
That's a
Nope.
miss.
End of next year, maybe.
Definite miss by a
So we're
long
at
way.
6.5 with a possible
gonna-
2.
And we're gonna kill the old game and make you buy it again for the updated version.
The 2023 percentage is a lot shakier than the 2022 one so far. Now, again, a lot of these are third parties. They have no control over this stuff, right?
Right.
Resident Evil 4 came out. Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, yes, replaced. No clue. Is there
No
a
clue.
release date on replaced? Anybody?
Nope. No.
So
No.
6.5 with a possible 3.
We do not have a replaced. And we
Um,
haven't heard anything from it for a while again.
Ereban Shadow Legacy. This is one you were a little excited. It looked like your origami game, Pong.
Oh yeah. It was almost an exact clone. No, that
Yeah.
has not dropped yet either.
Ravenlock.
No date. Wait, did we just get a date on Ravenlock or is that Raven Watch? I'm confusing.
I
those
think
two
it's
all the
Raven.
time.
Raven Watch or whatever, the roguelite just came out.
Okay. But Raven Lock is the other one, right?
Yeah.
Dead Space came out. Last Case of Benedict Fox is hitting within the window, and Cocoon.
Did Cocoon come out?
No.
I don't think so.
And
No,
Ravenlock has got no date on it yet either. Just 2023.
So 2023
So we're like-
percentage is a little iffy here.
We're like
Um,
7. We're 7.5 confirmed misses with like a possible 6 or 7.
Right. If we take out all the third party BS in there that was not part of the Xbox
Yeah.
showcase, we're talking about like what 50% maybe for 2023.
So my
Maybe.
my point is with this, like regardless of if it's first
Yes.
party or not,
Yeah.
still having a 12-month focused thing
Sucked.
coming to Xbox PC over the next 12 months, and you're marketing all of these things as being there when you don't have control over half of them. First
Right.
off, and then the other half you do have control over. For you miss a significant portion of those ones. It's just not a good idea, I don't think, to do it again. Jasper still wants them to do it.
Yeah.
Weirdly,
If you
Um,
Jasper's theory, while sound in from a theory standpoint is sound that eventually they would catch up and it would all work out.
Yep.
The short term does not. So I would say
You
no.
can't get to the long term if you ignore the short term.
18 months would still work the same way.
I'll meet you halfway and go 18 months with you.
all right, let's go 3 years.
But they won't. But they
Coming to
won't.
Xbox
They're-
and Game Pass within the next 3 years. I don't know.
Right. I think Rand's right, and I think they might show us stuff again that
Yeah.
potentially is 2025.
They can't show us games and then wait 4 fucking years to show them
Right.
to us again.
5 years.
It's been what those games originally, most of those got announced in
2020.
2020.
Yes, correct.
So we're talking about games that we haven't heard from by the E3 time for 3 years.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I think early prediction, everybody. Let's go. You ready for this?
All the stuff we thought last year was going to be there is going to be there this year.
You ready for some
Our crazy.
fun?
All these misses
speculation?
are going to be there.
Yeah, everything we didn't get in that other segment
Yeah.
here, we're gonna get. No, we will see Fable.
Ooh,
We will see Avowed.
yes.
We
That
will
for
see
sure.
Contraband.
Yes.
We will see State of Decay 3.
Mm.
Maybe.
We will see Perfect Dark. And we will see Everwild.
Mm,
I 2 out of those maybe. I'll give
Them all. Let's go. But
Yeah,
how-
no, I'm all for it.
How
I'm all for
fucking
it.
hyped
Real.
of a show would that be, man? You want to
The
blow
same
the
one we
fucking
predicted
doors
last
off
year.
the place?
The same one we predicted last year where they were going to
Yes.
show all this stuff.
And
Yes.
then you followed it up with the Starfield Direct, and you have
and
that
then they
to cap
follow
it
up the
off.
Perfect Dark with the release date of 2029. It's like, oh, cool. Can't wait for that in fucking 15 years.
And we see Outer Worlds 2.
Oof.
And we see the
They s-
first.
they
the
said it's
second
ready when
tease
it's
of Elder
ready.
Scrolls
About
6.
And
I'm
then
just
they
kidding.
follow that up with a surprise ABK closing show right after the Starfield deep dive.
And we are announcing Blizzard's new survival game.
And StarCraft
Bob,
coming back.
what are the expectations you think actually like reasonable for the showcase this year?
I think that we will see Forza.
That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I think. Am I going wild or am I going reasonable?
Well, I said reasonable, so that's very safe.
Yeah. Be safe.
I think it's possible to see some Fable. I'd like to see Outer Wilds too. Maybe Halo Infinite Battle Royale. That'd be a good one, but that might not be till next year. If
we
it's
thought
still
Halo
in
was going to
production.
be the last one, and Halo never showed up too. So.
Mhm. They might show more Halo. Avowed. I don't know. It could be any of those, or it could be just ridiculously safe, and we just see everything that we already know about.
Sea of Thieves DLC.
Yeah, we'll just see a bunch of DLC.
Coming up next for Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, Sea of Thieves, and Halo Infinite
classic.
Season 4.
The
or
classic
5, or
mid-show.
whatever.
I think,
wonder if they could play off the Indiana Jones hype, because I think Indiana Jones
Yes.
is supposed to come out around that time, so they could drop the game trailer.
And Pete Hines was out promoting the Indiana Jones
Yeah.
trailer today on Twitter too. So talking about how excited he was for it. So yeah, I mean Hellblade 2, Avowed,
Yeah, Hellblade 2.
Forza. Yeah, Hellblade 2, Avowed, Forza. Those are your safe bets this year. Contraband, I think, is safe too, because I think that's going to be next year by summertime as well. So I think we're safe with those. Then anything outside of that is when you start getting. This could be a shorter show, Mav. I know you say you don't want it to be, but I think if there's no Bethesda,
Don't even put it out there.
if-
dude. Don't let them think it's
because-
okay.
because I want them to have. Listen, if they go further out, then yes, you'll get your long show, right? If they are willing to show Perfect Dark, if they are willing to show Fable, they're willing to go that far out, then yes, you will get a longer show. But I just think that realistically, if they're not going to do that and they're going to keep it to, let's say, 18 months this time, even if they don't say that, but they go that route,
Kind of
then-
internally, yeah.
yeah, internally, then I think it's a shorter show. Then I think you're talking about an hour.
Yeah.
And then the Starfield show.
Which, I mean, you'd be getting 2 shows at the end of the day, so, like, I mean, does it really matter if you miss 30 minutes off the first one?
Do they? In the past, they've done a second show the day after, where they've had other stuff as well. The last couple
Yeah,
of years.
but that was more like the sit down kind of interviewy stuff, where like the actual Starfield's gonna be like an actual deep dive into Starfield. Like,
maybe it'll just be an Activision Blizzard victory lap, and we'll see some Call of Duty
Oh.
come into Battle Pass
Potentially.
Game Pass announcements.
And that maybe, I mean, that's, but maybe we do get a direct, following it. Even though it's a Starfield direct, maybe we do get to sit down with Todd to talk more about Starfield, and maybe we get to sit down with Turn 10 to talk more about Forza. Maybe we do get something like that where they do go a little bit more in depth with the devs. That's potential. I still think that's potential.
it depends. I think we get a direct if Forza is coming out like a month after.
Okay.
But if Forza is like a couple months after, I think they probably hold that direct for like maybe like August or something. Yeah,
August before Starfield drops.
Yeah.
And then
because you could fill that with Forza, Starfield, Age of Empires, and probably another little smaller game that's coming out.
or Hellblade 2.
What if you did the direct like a week after Starfield came out? You just kind of celebrate the success of Starfield, and then you have, well, guess what? We have Forza coming around the corner. Here's the in-depth look at that, and Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have the direct around those 2 games, and potentially something else slated for like early next year.
Yeah.
That would.
I think it's all possible. I think anything now
around
that they have the
Gamescom. When's Gamescom? Late August.
Late August, yeah.
late August.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Now
that
that
would
they
be
got the
before
direct
Starfield.
set up, and now they got the format, and they know everybody's happy with it, and
Yeah.
they've got that ability now, and they know how to do this. I think that potential is always going to be there, where they could line that up and set it up for that. But maybe Gamescom is huge. Maybe they go all out on Gamescom. They've got a lot of flexibility here. I'm being this year, because of what happened last year, I'm being very conservative in my thoughts. Last year I was
Or maybe
wild.
that is their Gamescom show. It's just a Xbox Direct. Maybe they don't do that 8-hour fucking show they did last
That's
year.
potential too, right? Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I could just tie the Direct into Gamescom.
Other thing we're not factoring into all of this.
Yeah.
One other big show happening that we're not factoring in.
Right.
The Keeleys.
The Keeleys, right? Summer Games.
Xbox
Are you
has
talking
their own
about Summer Games
showcase.
Fest? Or you talking about Are you talking about
Summer Game Fest?
Summer Games Fest? Yeah.
They could also have some of those things we haven't seen before in a long time there.
Yeah.
At Summer Game Fest. So it's only 4 days before. So if you want to get some hype out of the way early, you can have some stuff show up at Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, you could have some third-party deals show up there, or some smaller games, unannounced.
Right.
If they're separating Bethesda from Xbox, they could drop a smaller Starfield trailer there and say tune in for Starfield Direct.
Yeah.
Or if they're not going to have Bethesda at the showcase at all, but they do have like an Indiana Jones teaser that they do want to get out of the way, they could definitely put it with the Keeleys as well. So if they got like the oddball one that just doesn't fit with the showcase, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Like I said, I'm more calm this year than I was last year, where I was over the top hype, because I don't know what they're gonna do this year, and I don't know how they're gonna structure this. And things have changed so much, and there's so much unknown right now that now I'm a little bit more reserved this year. I'm obviously Starfield is all that matters to me at the end of the day, but I'm more reserved with their actual show because I just don't know, and I'm curious. Like, I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle this after what happened when they try to do the 12 months. But I just don't know how far out they're going to go. Like, it's really unknown this year, like what they're going to do.
Yeah. Biggest wild card year, I think, for them.
And it kind of sets the stage going forward too, in a lot of ways.
Kind of crazy how we're already talking about E3.
Well, it's only
I feel
it's 2 months.
Yeah, it's coming.
I feel
fast.
like with the sheer amount of games though that they have underneath their wingspan now, though, like it kind of could change the dynamic of how they approach presenting these games to us. Because if they're going to be showing us at a more regular basis, all like something from Activision, something like Activision Blizzard, something from Bethesda, like something from id, like if you can space it out like that, then why not maybe have one time a year that maybe they go ahead and just show us stuff that might be way down the pipeline or earlier in development. Like I kind of miss having something to like look forward to and like building the future of the brand as well.
Hopes and dreams, yeah. I've said all along I'm still for it. A lot of people aren't. Mav hates it, especially if they're going to make us wait to see it. Mav went on in his rant. Like they've done now, like we were just talking about, 3 years since 2020, and we saw a lot of games that we haven't heard anything about.
I'm just saying, I don't mind them showing games early,
right?
But I don't want them to wait 3 years to show something else or even tell us anything about it again.
Right.
Because they've been in the closet heavily on all these games, like big time.
All that pushback though is probably the reason why they have though, is because they're afraid to show something too soon now. So maybe I would like a mix of the two, honestly. Like show us what's coming up this year, show us what's coming up or next year, and show us what's coming up and beyond that too.
My thing with that though, Bob, is like on those games, they already blew the load on those. Like if you're making them, if you say, oh well, this is a mistake, we're not going to do this in the future, you gotta like
we're still within that lead time from 2020,
right? So
2019.
If you make that decision, like I don't know, it's out there, and the most we ever get is like Matt Booty saying, "Yeah, I'm super excited to tell you guys more about this because it looks great," but they don't want me to say anything, so I can't. And it's like, fuck, well, do something. I just want to see.
Yeah.
And that's coming out of a place of excitement, right? Like I'm pumped for these games. Like one of my favorite things in the Xbox ecosystem has been those franchises, those brands, those big Xbox exclusive games that we've had in the past, those first party games. And that's one of the reasons I love Xbox so much. And there's a lot of that stacked within those games that they announced back then, right? And
the thing is, though,
just don't know anything more. And I hope this year we get some updates.
When they do show like a trailer for a game that's out in like 5 years, it's usually a CGI trailer, and like the second after the show, it's only negative feedback. It's like, oh, it's a CGI trailer. It's not even gameplay. It's gonna look
but
totally
if
different.
you
and shit."
follow
It's
that
like-
up the next time you show it with something like a little bit
I know,
better
but-
than that, like.
But then what you end up getting is just negative feedback, and then they're like, "Well, maybe this is gonna be a shit project.
But-
Why are we even making this?"
But
It's
people
like,
only usually say that shit when it's all the trailers were only CGI trailers, right? Like if you have a show where it's a mixture of this and that, like nobody was criticizing Outer Worlds 2 CGI trailer.
because they make
because-
fun of it.
Well, not only that, but like there was a lot of other stuff. Like Redfall was a CGI trailer that year too.
Hellblade 2 hasn't gotten shit on for the way that they've shown that, and a lot of that in the beginning was CGI.
Yeah, because they've consistently given us
Engine.
updates,
Right,
right?
that's what I'm backing you up on here.
Yeah,
is
like-
if you constantly if you give us the updates, right, and you just show us little things. Again, Hellblade 2 hasn't done anything outside of when they finally showed us, that one gameplay segment.
Yeah.
That was the first time, but we had just seen more Senua and her face and fire and chanting like that, and it still worked. To Mav's point, I think that you can still do it that way. Show us a CGI like Fable, but then give us a follow-up and just give us a glimpse. Give us a glimpse of what it's going to be like. Like I said, a flyover of some of the environment. You don't even have to show us characters in Fable if you're not ready to show us characters. Show us environment, because we know that Playground's going to knock that out of the fucking park. So do that.
Yeah, some of these
Everybody be
studios are just a little too quiet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I don't know if it's up to the studio or up to Microsoft, but I know Microsoft could make them do something. But I'm not saying like take a lot of time away. Hire a team, have them go in there and do some interviews for like a day. You know what I mean? And then like put it out there. Have the team produce the video up there, and just ask for some concept art or some like shit like that. And at least you have something. Oh, that I understand kind of what they're trying to build here now. Instead of like, hey, this is just a CGI thing that we saw 3 years ago. It is what it is. It's not a huge deal, right?
We're gonna need Candy Crush updates now too. So that's gonna be huge. We're gonna have a mobile show. It's gonna be amazing.
How much marketing stuff have we seen of Redfall now over the last 2 years?
Oh, a ton. Yeah.
Yeah.
More than enough. Like to the point where I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I just am sick of seeing it
I
at
love
this
it,
point.
but
Like it just released the game.
Right.
So it just depends on the game. Some games they do a lot more. Hellblade, Ninja Theory has been on top of this shit, for that same year is the year the Xbox Series X got revealed is the first time we saw Hellblade 2. Game's still not out yet, but we've seen it time and time again in different forms or fashions. You know what I mean? I would just like to see, a little bit besides Phil Spencer on a Twitter picture looking at a screen and then somebody say, Phil's really excited for what we showed him today at our in-house demonstration of our next game. You know what I mean? I want to know what that is.
it works. It works for certain studios because Bethesda doesn't show us shit. Like,
Yeah.
how much of Starfield did we see up until?
But that being
nothing.
said, Pong, like,
Yeah.
how many interviews has Todd done where he's told us
Correct.
about his visions for Starfield and all that stuff for years
Yes.
now?
Yeah, but I
Yes.
mean, like basically in those interviews, all you're getting every couple months is
Right.
it's still great, it's going good.
But
So it's
for
like,
somebody that's excited about the game, I eat
Right.
that shit up. You know
Right.
what I mean?
No, of
Like, I
course.
did a whole video, like, when everybody's saying we don't know what Starfield was, saying I know exactly what Starfield is because look at all these interviews. We fucking told us what Starfield is, And like for people that are excited about getting the information, they're still putting it out there. Now they have their other big shows, and we've seen Starfield more than other things, but they've had dev videos too of all these different things where they talk about the music, they talk about this, talk about that. Granted, the
Right.
game's closer to release now. Within a
Right.
year, they started doing
and they were
that.
planning when they started doing that. They were planning on launching it last November.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So that started the ramp.
But we've been hearing consistent information about Starfield ever since Fallout 4 launched, pretty much. Well, the year after that.
there was a couple years where we didn't even get anything.
Todd
We had a lot of
every,
people talking about it.
Every E3, Todd would do some kind of interview or something and get asked about it, and he would give some nuggets.
Sure.
How many nuggets do we have about Fable from the dev team, from the head of the studio? How many nuggets
got
do we
a lot.
have?
We got Matt Booty Nugget. He says it looks great. We got a booty nugget.
How many nuggets do we have for Perfect Dark?
A shit ton.
Ton. We blew up the glasses and got the image, and daughter was super excited, and it was great.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I just want some nuggets. That's all I'm saying. Just nuggets.
They
Oh,
gave
this
you
one
nuggets.
tastes like Diablo.
I love it. Hey, are you taking a jab at my KFC Xbox Nugget video, Jasper?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Trying to become an influencer like Kate. So you can get food deals.
If I can get free fucking KFC nuggets, I'll take it. She did get sent some pasta sauce last week.
Yes, I saw that.
From
That
Carbone.
looked really delicious. Was it really good?
No comment.
Whoa! Wow. Okay. All right.
No comment.
It tastes
Plus, it actually
I
had
am not allowed-
it actually had flavor. So Matt was
Yeah,
like,
it
I'm not
actually was
allowed.
real ingredients. So
Yeah, Matt's like, this sucks.
I'm going to say there's a sauce out there called Rayo's. I love that sauce. I love it.
But it doesn't beat ragu, man. Ragu is the greatest.
No, Rayo's is some premium shit. If you want to spend $10 on a jar of pasta sauce, it's worth it.
I would never spend $10.
It's worth it. It's like Rayo's is the shit.
Rayo's is probably as good as the Hunt's from
What?
the can.
You fucking
Next time I'm in Texas, you can treat me to some Rayo's.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
gonna expect Rayos from here on out. So when we come
Spaghetti
to
sauce.
Texas, that's all I'm gonna accept. Better not be any shit. Better not be Prego or anything like that.
Classico.
Classico. I like Classico. 3 cheese, garlic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, another good one is Bertolli. Bertolli's pretty solid.
Yeah.
You got Paul Newman's.
I like
Yeah.
Hunt's.
Yeah.
Newman's. I like Hunt's. My
Yeah.
God.
It
Hunt's
goes
makes the
in.
worst ketchup ever.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it goes in and comes out
The same.
somewhere.
Looks
Yeah.
like it came from the can. Still.
Exactly.
That's great.
Rayo's is premium. It's like PlayStation, right? It's quality. A little overpriced.
We're on spaghetti sauce. Are we getting out of here? Because I gotta get up in the morning.
Yeah. Can you dip a pickle in some spaghetti sauce?
And then put it through a glory hole.
Oh.
We'll work on it. We're developing it here in the Game Pass Ad Labs.
Okay. Right on. All right. These guys have a point. We should get out of here. But first, I got a $5 super chat I got to get to from the one and only Alvin. Again, appreciate you, Alvin. He says, I think a full-blown Perfect Dark trailer would be at the Keeleys. First trailer was at the Game Awards, and that genre would appeal to non-Xbox fans. That is a fantastic point there, Alvin. And traditionally, they tend to show games that, like, they've shown Hellblade at the Game Awards multiple times. So maybe Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark's the next one.
Yeah,
That would be
next time
great.
as well. We'll see if Crystal D is done enough to get something out there. All right, this has been a fun show, everybody. I guess once we start talking about Rayo's pasta sauce versus Carbone, it's time to wrap the show up, according to these guys.
It's too controversial.
Yeah, so it's not console wars, it's sauce wars here. But yeah,
Where's Gaz when you need him.
No.
All right.
Thanks to our very great friend of the show, part of the Fun Speculation family. Always welcome here, Pickle Papa, aka Game Pass Dad, aka Bob, Glory Hole Bob.
No, that's not gonna stick.
Okay,
Wow.
sorry. Where can everybody find you, bro?
That'll be the secret one. I'm Game Pass Dad on every single platform, and I'm working hard on my YouTube shorts and streaming on Twitter or Twitch Wednesdays and weekends at 10 o'clock. Playing Crab Champions tomorrow. Do comedy stuff. It's fun. Or find me on Twitter. Twitter's fun too. But thank you for having me. Always a good time. I appreciate you and let me hit you up last minute and just be like, sounds like we got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, man. All right, welcome
And
anytime, man. I mean, like,
Let me
part of
make
the
an ass of
family.
myself with a pickle.
I'll just send you the link every week, and if you show up, you show up. All right.
I appreciate it. I'm down. I got nothing going on Fridays most of the time.
Let's go. Maybe the newest panel member here. We'll see. Jasper,
Be honored.
where can everybody find you, bro?
Yo. Check it out. Lord Jasper Twitter, Lord Master Jasper YouTube, AI Game News Twitter. Check all that stuff out. Monday and Friday night, 10 o'clock, right here, Fun Speculation Network. We got FSP and Xbox Ultimate. Check that stuff out. And that's about it. Have a good night.
Right on, man. Appreciate you as always, Jasper. What about you, Psycho? You've been playing something this whole show. I can sense it.
No, man. I've been playing the game and yeah. No, I mean,
no,
you
I
just said.
haven't been
No.
playing. No, I haven't been. I've been playing a game. Yeah.
yeah. No, I have not. Maybe.
Okay. What do you
No.
got going on, man?
I'm actually will be out of state for 2 weeks. Tomorrow. No. On Monday, I'm leaving out of state, so I will not be around. But yeah, you can see the rest of the guys Friday on Xbox Ultimate and Monday in FSP. I won't be there though.
Where are you headed?
Are you gonna get out of parole or what's gonna happen?
I
got a
gotta
bond
meet up.
hearing?
El Chapo. We gotta go do a deal.
I gotta go see a guy about a thing.
I gotta go.
I
gotta
owe dude
chop it up
money,
with
so I
El
gotta go
Chapo.
work for him for a little bit.
He heard about that glory hole at the CMA offices in the UK. He's headed there next week. He wants to be in on that.
Yeah, if they got smooth lips, why not? What?
Get your Carmex ready, Jim.
Oh,
All right.
Pong Soul. Where can
Yes.
everybody find you, sir?
Absolutely. Great show, everybody. And again, Game Pass Dad, great to have you a part of the
Oh my
panel.
goodness.
Huh?
He's got the Carmex ready to go.
Yeah, he's
He's got
juicing
the
up his
car. Yeah,
lips.
he's put it on. There you go. Nice. Get ready for
It's
Psycho.
ready for you, Psycho.
Great show, brothers. We went all over the place tonight. Chad, I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope some of you learned something when you Googled Glory Hole. I hope the kids weren't around. But anyways, great show, everybody. And listen, you guys can find me. You know Pong Soul on Xbox and Twitter. And then tomorrow morning, get those alarms set now because Living Split Screen is going to be live, raw, and uncut at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time with my brother from another steel rain. We are going to be 3+ hours tomorrow morning, probably 4 as always, but we're going to have a lot to talk about. So be there tomorrow morning. Tell a friend, bring a friend. It's going to be a fun time. And then, of course, tomorrow night, it is the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel with Fuzzy, we hope, myself, and we do have a guest tomorrow night on the shop. Lord Addict is going to be on from the ILP, of course, back from PAX East. He's been moving, so he hasn't been doing a whole lot of streaming, but we have him on the show, so we're going to have a good time tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. And then Tuesdays, it starts all over again. Xbox Factor Podcast, all good things green. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Mr. Boomstick is the man. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time, where he always has a great panel. So be there every Tuesday. And then Thursday night, Mav and I will be back right here for PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM for another great show. If you missed last night's, go check it out. About 3.5 hours long. We had a great time chopping it up over all the good stuff, catching up on our. We had missed 2 weeks ago, so it was like a catch-up show. We even talked about PSVR 2 last night, which was crazy because that's 2 weeks old already. But we have a great time every Thursday night on PM and the PM, so be there next week as well. Otherwise, it is the golden age of gaming, people. It truly, truly is. So get out there, enjoy your weekend, play what you love what you play. Happy Easter to everybody as well. If you celebrate, have a good one. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Yeah. Thanks, Pong. Everybody, appreciate you all. Have a good one. Remember, if you like the content here, hit the like button, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks to all the audio listeners out there as well. I appreciate you. Hey, if you like the show on podcast platforms, hey, leave a review on your favorite one, whether it's iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen. Appreciate you all, and I hope you have a good night. Take it easy, everyone, and we'll see you back Monday for FSP and maybe some more big Xbox news then, so we'll see. Have a good one. Peace out.
Good night, everyone.